is up, man? How are you? Good to see y'all coming at you live for it. Looks like a lot of you guys are new here to the King's Council or to the council. Charles, welcome. David King, nice to see you, brother. Bryce, Boyd, Ray, and looks like we got a few returning guys too. So welcome everyone to today's call. Inside of today's call, we've got a handful of guys that are here joining us from the King's Council, which was the program that started about a year ago now, the 100K group. And then we got some new guys that joined the Warriors Council. So to run with us for 2023. So welcome everyone. Stoked to have you on board. Purpose of this call, the Monday Hot Seat call, is really twofold. Number one, inside of the monthly council calls, Ben says he can't hear me. Is everyone else having the same issue? No, Ben, I think it's on your end, brother. So inside of the monthly council calls, what we're doing is we set our freedom maps, aka our impossible targets for the year, for the quarter. And then inside of the monthly council calls, we're actually setting new monthly focus maps, which is a 1 month target that moves us closer to our quarter and our year. So the purpose of these hot seat calls are twofold. Number one, to return a report, where are we at on our monthly focus? But bigger than that, to get hot seat support to get us unstuck, right? We go in, we have a 2 or 3 day experience, we get fired up, we get clarity, and then the bullets start flying and shit starts coming at us sideways. So really the purpose of these calls is to give you men support to get unstuck so you can keep moving on your monthly focus maps. So stoked to have you guys on board. And we're going to start today with a big question. We're coming live off of WarriorCon 4. I think I can break you all into breakout rooms. Yep. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to break you all out into breakout rooms of 5. We're going to give you 10 minutes each. Where are you at? Where the fuck are you at since WarriorCon 4? What showed up for you? So there was 2 things. There was the experience of WarriorCon 4. And then the second piece here is like what's showing up for you on the backside of WarriorCon 4. So you're going to share 2 things. Where are you at? Like, what was your experience like? And then number 2, where are you at now on the backside of WarriorCon 4? Y'all clear? Just put your thumbs up so I know you're clear. Cool. So I'm going to break you out into groups of 5. You got 10 minutes on the clock to share, and I'm going to bring you back. And Kevin.
Hey.
So, Michael, let's hear where you're at. Where you at since WarriorCon 4? What's showing up for you? I can't hear anything. 1 second.
It's his sound.
You good? All right. So obviously after the event, pretty fired up. I had kind of gotten back into it about 6 weeks prior to coming down there. So I was already in a little bit of a role, and that kind of propelled me a little bit further. The only hurdle I've had a little bit was kind of tempering my expectations and not trying to do everything all in one day and being realistic about it. Made that mistake before and burned out quickly. So being all right to have 4 hits on my door and not trying to do 6 in a day and balance everything and come home and be present for the family and make sure I got all the things so that I'm doing well across the board and not going too gung-ho in one area at the expense of everything else. So for me coming out of that, kind of trying to up-level being was a big part of it, in addition to the main reason I'm here, which is business and my wife. So kind of across the board good.
Beautiful, man. Yeah, I don't know a man that steps into Warrior that says, like, I'm going to reconnect with God. I know I didn't show up thinking I was going to reconnect with God, but I'd say that's been one of the biggest benefits I've gotten. So glad to have you here, Michael.
Yep.
Brandon, man, talk about reconnecting with God, dude. You had a moment on stage, huh?
Yeah. So that was pivotal in a few different ways. One, for me personally, I keep referring to it as a supernatural experience based on the message somebody else sent me. Undeniable and also questioning and scary as fuck. And so that has led me down a specific journey in being linked up and doing Bible study and just figuring out and exposing really all the things that have kept me hiding from that conversation for so long. A lot of the problems that I have with Christianity or Christians in general are becoming exposed over and over and over and over again. So that's interesting. Business, I had a pre-screening and an interview for a company in Colorado today, in making big fucking moves to be in Colorado. And that gets me close, but that does not get me to the freedom that I need or want to create in my life, business-wise. So that is why I'm here.
What's your freedom business-wise?
What?
What's your freedom business-wise?
Not being just an employee, and then potentially being my own entrepreneur. I want to have an engineering firm. I want to be able to train and coach engineers. I want to fill that stage. Like that all was directed straight at me. Not just me, but absolutely me. And so there's some gaps that opened up there, and there's some things that I know I don't know. So that's the business is the biggest thing that I've got moving forward as far as things I know I don't know. The biggest thing that I've been balancing is turmoil and everything created from me making the decision to move forward in Warrior, run with a small group since WarriorCon 3. Nobody in that group is moving forward with Warrior from here. So I'm the only one left in that group. So that's been really interesting. And then the war at home with my wife. Not only the financial commitment I made, that has exposed me, but my wife has sustained significant amount of spiritual abuse, is the word Sam used. Last year, she had completed an impossible target of getting her name off of the books of the Mormon Church.
Oh, okay, man, I can relate on that one. Yeah, good luck, dude.
Yeah. She fucking hates where I'm at. She talk about it, doesn't want to talk to me, and it's my job to just kind of hold space. But that has created a giant fucking problem. It's exposed a lot of hurt in her life. Nothing I can do about the hurt created in her life. It's not me, but it has created a really, really shitty situation at home. She is not leaving, but that does not mean that I don't have a fucking battle in multiple fronts of my house. So that's where I'm at.
Wow, bro. That's heavy, man. That's what I was going to ask. Like, how are things at home now since your declaration and everything else?
Kids, amazing. Haven't talked to them about it. That conversation is the one we'll have when they're ready. Wife is a fucking battle. And so it's my job to just fucking show up and do the work.
That's it, man. You don't have to tell her to do anything. You just do you.
Nope.
Beautiful, bro. Beautiful. Yeah, cool. Kevin, where you at, man?
Hey, you know what? I'm just, I feel very, what's the term? Beyond excited to just get re-engaged. It's been 3 long years now. And not that I've ever really completely stepped away from Warrior in the way of life, but just, when Garrett rolled out counsel at the meeting at Work on 4, just a rush actually went over me when I kind of realized I was going to get back into this. And since I've gotten home, it's just been great. We had a long conversation with my wife about it, with a great date night on Saturday night. We talked about some things that we haven't talked about. One of my challenges has been connecting to God and just understanding what that's supposed to be in my life. And she and I had a very in-depth conversation about it after a very in-depth long sexual session on Saturday night. And she's a daughter of a preacher, and I just kind of explained to her my my feeling of confusion with God. I've never really been adept to the Catholic Church, which I was brought up. It's always been just kind of a weird, scary place for me. And then her being the daughter of a preacher, and then her dad. We talked about it. He's saved, but when he was young, he was a fucking drug dealer and got saved. He's a great guy now. Everybody would like him, but you look at we talked about you shall judge him by his fruit. And guys have 3 kids. 2 are heroin addicts. One of them died of heroin. He used to work for me, and she's got a sister that he raised that has got 3 kids from 3 different guys. So just when I look at the situation, I explained it to her with God, and I've seen this, which I don't like, the Catholic Church, and I see her father that was totally committed to God, and no one on this call would ever want to change places with him in life. He's never produced anything financially either. So we just had a long conversation about it, and it was good. So we decided that we're going to, I've gone to a couple churches since I moved to Southwest Florida, not for the ceremony, just to go check them out. That's how averse I am to them. I kind of did some recon in each one of them, and actually never went to one. But she found one that she wants us to start going to. So that's good. I mean, for her and I to actually talk about religion, which we've never done, it's just been something that's always just blown over us, and we've just avoided it, and we talked about still, like, maybe our relationship with God is what it's supposed to be right now, which we both believe strongly in God. We pray, but we don't practice a religion, essentially.
Mhm.
And, we don't talk about other people for the most part. So it's just good that's the first time in our 20, almost 29 years of marriage that we've actually had that conversation. So that's
Beautiful.
good. And yeah, and other than that, just plugging in. I started a new business about a year and a half ago, so I'm excited to inject Warrior into it. And other than that, I'm just very excited to be re-engaged with the people that have this type of mentality and this belief system. So, because I have missed it tremendously.
Totally, man. Yeah. Yeah. Coming back as a man that was disengaged for a couple of years, what's different?
What's different so far? It's a little early to tell.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Warrior Con 4 was different from what I've captured than any other Warrior Con.
My only went to WarCon 1. So I started
Okay.
Warrior Week I was Warrior Week 24. Then we did
Mhm.
Empire and whatever the successive events were called.
Sure.
Really the biggest thing is the injection of God into Warrior. That's the thing that stands out the most. Obviously the software advances.
Mhm.
The guys are similar. There was some old faces there, and then a lot of new ones. So, but I would have to say the one thing that stands out to me is the injection of God into Warrior versus what it
Yeah.
was in 2015 through 18. We talked about the voice, but we talked about God a little bit, but it was nowhere near the level that it's at right now.
Pretty loose. Right.
Yep.
Beautiful, man. Glad to have you back, Kevin. Ben, where
Appreciate
you at,
it.
brother?
Yeah, no, I love the Warrior Con 4. That was like my first really experience with that. I've been a part of Warrior for going on 2.5 years or so now. So I went through the challenge and then was in shelter for a while. But Warrior Con 4 is the first experience since I came in when it was all like shut down from doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Super excited. Like I got out of it and was able to reconnect a lot with my wife. That was one of the themes that was kind of going through. I'd made a lot of moves over the past 2 years, but there was some deeper conversations that we need to have. So after a week of us kind of going at it and it being great, she was like, next time you're going in person, because it's amazing if there's the effect of it. So it was really good. We had a really good time reconnecting, working through some stuff, and I'm just super excited to be here. The decision to jump into council was a really tough one at like 5 a.m. doing like 5 different stacks until I finally got to the place where God was like, you need to make the jump. And I was like, I'm a little worried. And he was like, you need to make the jump. And I was like, okay, all right. So here we are. So I'm like, extreme investment, extreme accountability. That's what I'm looking for.
Beautiful, bro. Yeah. Yeah, like, Kevin's been involved. We'll talk about this more in a minute, but it makes a big difference who you're running with inside of this game. It's a night and day difference. So glad you made the decision to jump, brother. Glad to have you on board. All right, we're going to jump back into the main room.
Including
Welcome back. Some great shares there. Wanted to pull a few men forward to share more. Brandon, if you don't mind, I'm going to put you on the spotlight here. Share what showed up for you since you had this big experience of reconnecting or connecting to God and going home. What that's been like for you.
So I was sharing in the room. I would define what I experienced as something as supernatural. It was not what I expected going in, and actually fully wasn't what I wanted. Avidly avoiding it going in, and so with that the frame in mind, went home, and my wife has been exposed to what Sam coined spiritual abuse. Right, that's part of her history. She is in a place with the conversation around Christ where she just now, as kind of an impossible game that she had set a couple of years ago, got her name officially off of the church records at the Mormon Church. So this conversation around Jesus and Christ with her she wants none of it. And actually she's very angry, and it exposed a lot of hurt. And so in addition to the financial conversation, which is where I've been exposed, my moves have created a war at home with her. We're not talking. We have minor conversation. In the last 3 days when I was home, we went from she wasn't having any conversation to at least we're having conversation. And but yeah, it's going to be a long battle, and it's going to be in parallel to what I'm doing in business, which is the biggest domino for me, right? Balance problems are solved by money problems. So it's created a war, and it's exposed the idea that I think the thing I shared in the room was my job is to not try to convert or do anything other than hold space for her and show fuck up and do the fucking work.
So hands to the camera if you came back from WarriorCon 4 with some huge insight or transformation, brought it home, and it created war with the queen. Put your hand on the camera. Yeah. Yeah, you're not alone, man. What's crazy is every single big move I've made in my life, it's created all-out war with my wife. Every single one of them. Yeah. Including deciding to shut down my consulting business and go on staff with Warrior. Like the war hasn't let up, right? The war still is going on with my wife. So what's crazy about this is my wife is like, if I'm type A, she's like type 0, right? And one of the craziest things is that happens here inside of this game is many times what I experience is like a test, like pushing up against, like how serious are you inside this game? Yeah.
Yep. I
So,
was worried.
Go ahead.
I was worried she was gonna leave when I got home.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't, so that's all I need to worry about.
That's right, man. Beautiful. Well, stay right in the pocket, dude. You're doing the right stuff. Keep living your truth and then let it sort itself out. Scott, let's pull you on. Where are you at since WarriorCon 4? What showed up for you?
Well, like I shared in the group, it was interesting, going through the sprints and getting a different perspective of the same event that I was there, and I'm just picking up different things. And one of the I guess one of the biggest things that I had as far as revelation in the first day or so was I've always been accused of getting in my own way, and I never really understood what that meant until I really focused on that heart connection and saying, oh gosh, that's really what I've been doing. When I'm battling with myself in the stack, I've just these stories that I create to stop me from taking action. And a lot of that was focused on, on taking action and going through the door, as Satama says. So yeah, that became clear to me. And then also just, in revisiting taking a knee and what that means and what it means to me, it's been a lack of faith. I've found that as to why I haven't taken a knee. And I really understood the whole term king of the shitheads, as far as taking, I wanted the glory. I want to be the one that is the makes the moves. I come up with the ideas, I execute. It's all because of what I'm doing, and it's been keeping me small. And because I want to be able to see the outcome of what I'm going to do. I want to be able to know what's going to be on the other side of that. And it's been fear and lack of faith that has been prevented me from really executing at the level where I should be. So that's, that clarity has come out of this. Unfortunately, over the past week where I'm at right now, it's just created a lot of internal chaos with me. Like, where do I begin? Where do I start? What do I have to uproot? And as I'm evaluating my home life, my systems, my processes, I see what I've been toiling with, and it's been just small shit that really is not going to get me to where I need to be. It's not going to make me the man that I want to be at the end of this. So that's
so right now, Scott, what are you actually having or seeing that you need to uproot in your life?
Well, what I need to do is take more action that I'm called to take, because I think I've put a lot of energy in fighting that off, in stalling and creating reasons, why I shouldn't do things, versus taking action. Just like I came with a realization today, it's like, all the effort that we take in hiding, or it's like a fear of failure, but it's also like a fear of success. What happens when I get to that point, and now I've got to be the one that's people are depending on, a lot more people, and I realized, oh, that's scaring me. That's what's holding me back in a lot of ways. But if I know it's not me, it's not coming from me, that if I'm going, you know, from God, from that source, and I'm following that calling, it's that faith that bridges that gap.
So what's the one piece of action you committed to take out of WarriorCon 4 that you need to take or haven't taken yet?
Well, the simple action is staying with doing the work. And that's, I know that creating that power, it's not just create the power is connection. So that's what I that came out of this event as well. It's not just the word power. I never actually considered where that power comes from. And really the focus of my core 4 is a daily connection, creating that connection piece, which I think is important for me, because that's the through line. It's that lack of faith, that lack of connection that's caused me to hesitate.
So Scott, I love you, man, but I'm totally unclear with what you said. So I don't know how you could take action on it.
Take action is doing the work daily, is doing, you know, just simply starting with core 4, because I fall off of that train quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, going, you know, that's like the main thing that I have to do. Cool. Because yeah, and I think everything else is going to follow, because I know when I'm stacking business problems, I'm stacking personal problems, and I'm doing that work, I get revelation. Mm-hmm. It's just what happens is I get to the point where, okay, I got this. It's all me now. I'm cool. I don't need it anymore.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful, man. Yeah. So what's crazy is, Garrett's messaging in. So what's crazy is, Scott, is like, I ran into the same game inside of stacking where I get some kind of insider revelation and then I don't do anything. And then guess what happens? I'm in the same exact place a week or two later. So the game here is getting inside a big action across your revelations inside of the stack. So what's great is we are going to build a chat for each of the council groups where you can start posting your stacks to get accountability around the action you're taking. And the thing is, if you show up month after month inside of the council and you're talking about the same shit, you're just going to keep getting dick kicks every month over and over and over and over again. Because one of the things that's different about council, which is different from the shelter and shield, is men keep showing up talking about the same problem. They're just going to get dick kicks now, right? It's just a whole new level and a whole new intensity inside of the council. So glad you're here, Scott. We're here to support you. Rock and roll.
Thanks.
Bryce, where you at, man? You've got a lot going on in your life.
Good stuff. Good news was I lost about 5-6 pounds being at WarCon. So beautiful. I was 220 and trying to get down to 190. I weighed in, and Brandon and I had a talk the day he was leaving, and we talked about the paths, and we decided I was taking too many paths. So we narrowed those down just before Brandon flew out to go back. So yeah. I'm working with Damien on Space Gen, the movie projects. I'm working on the intellectual property, which is one of my impossible games and more targets. Got an assignment of about 7 things to do from Damien today as we move forward in that. We're completely shifting a lot out of litigation in the court system into the document prep. Had the conversation today with Net Documents as we move stuff to the cloud to make it more organized for all the documents, emails, where I can work from anywhere in the world. We just spent the $22,000 on the software upgrade for all that document processing, which any document I draft, the artificial intelligence will go through it just like that and tell me what's fucked up so we don't make a major malpractice mistake. My staff, I briefed them on how we're going to do everything with Warrior. We're doing the consults like Warrior. We set the minimal target of cash to keep each week so I can, you know, slowly shift out of what I'm doing into these new areas of law, so I don't go broke. Because when I talked, Brad and I were talking coming out of work, I was like, look, man, you got to make some fucking money. You just can't go, I fucking quit. And he was right. And then I don't drink that much because I'm in the liver study, but I quit having the Mountain Dews. I wasn't drinking that much, but I laid off all the Mountain Dews, completely just drinking water and refocusing my nutrition diet, and then talking to my private coach in the UK. So we're revamping my nutrition plan and physical fitness. And I really want to get down to 190 because it's really what I want. So, and I've told everybody, leave me the fuck alone. I mean, I'm having different conversations. People are like, what the fuck's wrong with you? And I'm like, man, I got shit to do. I just can't get caught up in minutia bullshit conversations. So we're very business oriented right now, more so than we've ever been in probably the last 2 years as we make this major shift into 2023. It's not easy. it's a bitch letting go of a lot of stuff. And that's been the biggest challenge. And that's the one thing I need to continue to do. Just fucking let go of the past and not talk about it anymore. Just stop and talk about council and moving forward and how we're going to make the cash to keep and transition all these areas that we're going into.
Beautiful.
That's where I'm at.
Beautiful. Coming out of WarriorCon 4, what does your freedom look like around balance? Remember, you're going through a transition, a year ago?
Yeah. In terms of my son, it's absolutely fantastic. He should know which branch he's going to get in the next week as a commissioned officer in May. So we talk all the time. The marriage thing's not good. Trying to settle the estate with Michelle. She's not being real cooperative. So that's going to get spicy, but it's part of what I do. I understand the game. So I'm not going to bitch about it. I've hired an attorney out of Raleigh. He doesn't really know her, so there's no conflict. And trying to negotiate that out, and do it the Warrior way. What are the facts without the feelings? But with divorce, everybody's got feelings. So that's going to be a big challenge. But I'm focusing more so on moving forward in council and not getting caught up in the bullshit. Understanding it's there.
Huge.
But my target is not to fight with everybody about shit. Either negotiate it out, and then if I can't, then we'll take it to the next level. But I have to focus on council. I just got to do this, or I can't do anything if I don't do that.
Yeah, the craziest thing in life and the craziest principle in life comes from Zen is this, and it's that which you resist persists.
Yeah.
And it's like the biggest mind fuck ever. Because it's like, no, I was taught to fight everything and I'm going to win by fighting and resisting and fighting everything. And the craziest thing is all the fight and the push and the effort and the will is what keeps the problem going versus finally just embracing and letting go. Right.
Yeah. I'm not even mad anymore. Just like I said, my focus has to be on this council and staying physically fit. I'm in this clinical study, and just, putting the phone down, turning it off and telling people like tonight, I kicked everybody out. Turn my phone off, and I'm like, I got 3 hours. Just leave me the fuck alone. Just leave me alone.
Beautiful. So, thanks for sharing, brother. Glad you're here.
Yeah,
David King, where you at, man? You're back for more.
I am. I'm back to fucking expose myself, be vulnerable, be raw. I'm a great hider. I can look good with the best of them until I fucking disappear. And then I was fucking hiding, and I know I was fucking hiding. And so that's a big, it was a big deal for me, man. It's just to lay it out there. I hate marketing. I don't know any other way to say it. I love referrals. I want to go all in on referrals. I don't want to fucking talk on fucking Facebook or Instagram about my message. Like, I have to get, past that, move past it, maybe I'm not resistant to LinkedIn. So just that kind of shit, man. Like, WarriorCon 4, the same as a lot of guys there where it's like, I'm just playing fucking small. Like my abilities and my skill set and my space and my energy are so much bigger. I was telling the guys, I was playing not to lose instead of playing to win. And so, like, the energy coming out of this and joining the council is like playing to fucking win, and doing whatever it takes for me. And part of that is just like, when I'm confused or I hate something or I have a question or something doesn't make sense to me, or I just raise my hand, try to answer. I'm so afraid of looking bad. I do not want to look bad. I don't want to look bad in front of you, in front of Garrett, in front of the guys. And that is, I'm over that. I want to look terrible. I want to look horrible. I want to fucking fall on my face. Like, whatever it takes to get to that level where I can get to that next place in my life and break through. I want to submit, take a knee, and be willing to do it. Right. You asked the one action I needed to take coming out of WarriorCon 4. My first response is, oh fuck, I don't have one. I better think of one. But really, the big piece out of there was that I need to transition to an event. Like, I'm going to do the coaching. I'm going to figure out the coaching. I'm going to get in there with the orthodontist. I have some momentum, picking up speed, but I won't be able to do that. I don't want to travel all that fucking time and be away from my family. So at some point, I've got to transition into a high level, high ticket, event that's different than anything in the industry. And it scares the fuck out of me because I don't know how to do an event. I don't know the first thing about it, except for I see what, WarriorCon 4 does. And so I'm just like, okay, God, just lead me. I'll take whatever fucking action I got to get to, but I'm going to make that shit happen.
So, hands to the camera, who here is afraid of looking bad? Yeah. Right. It's something all of us men face, which is why at the foundation, I know for me and most men, is why we lie. The most powerful man in the room is who? David?
Yeah, the one with nothing to hide. And that's definitely been me, man. I posted up all my debt in the fucking Shield. I got $253,000 of unsecured debt. Like, my debt looks like, Nick's current body. That was just a big piece of my exposure. And it's time for me to refocus and get that handle as I move forward with this business too.
100%, man. 100%. And here's what's crazy, right? As Nick exposed his body, I turned to the fellas I was sitting next to at the table. I was like, I am Nick spiritually. I'm hiding underneath a big shirt spiritually. I get it, man. It's hard.
Yeah. No, I'm with you, dude. And one last thing, look, I live not trusting God. Like, I feel like I have a connection with God. I meditate for fucking 45 minutes every day. I lean on God. There's no way I could play at the level I'm playing without God, because I would be crushed into a little fucking aluminum can. Mm-hmm. But I'm just in that fear every day. And to learn and to be and to concentrate on being able to do that more, man, I'm here to grab onto some of it.
Beautiful.
David, we made a fucking shirt after you, bro. We made a shirt with your goddamn name on it. You ready?
I'm ready.
I like it. I like it, dude. Guess what? Most days I don't like marketing either. I don't. I don't like people talking shit about me. Oh no, Corbin, you can't leave yet, dude. You can't leave yet. I got something for you special. I got a little special something for you. Here, turn your camera back. Hey, we got unspotlighted. Go ahead and keep him on the spotlight. There he is. Oh, okay, our team ditched you off the main screen on my side. I was like, oh no, not done. So what's got to be different this year? Like, what's got to be different for you? Legitimately, unsecured debt's gone. You got cash in the bank. You feel fucking savage inside your marketing game. You're fucking having it all. You're free at a level you've never been free. Like, what's going to have to be different?
Yeah, I mean, it's two things. I need cash, and I need a system of predictable leads.
And that was the problem last year.
Yeah. I mean, it's perennial.
Yeah. And this goes for all you fuckers. If you don't commit to marketing, I swear to God, I will punch you in the fucking throat all year long this year and next year and the next year and the next year. You all must become master marketers, period. The end. Right now, we live in a day and age where everyone around you is being led, influenced, manipulated, and motivated through propaganda and marketing. How many of you know this is true? Raise your hand in the camera if you know this is true. So the challenge is, if you can't read through the marketing because you don't understand marketing and you don't understand direct response marketing and it doesn't happen for you, you're fucked. Anybody know who Jay Abraham is? Thumbs up to the camera if you know who Jay Abraham is. Did you fucking text me personally yesterday? Besides my wife. Jay Abraham, motherfuckers. That's who. For anybody who knows this guy's like the godfather of the godfathers, right up there with Dan Kennedy. Only he believes in fax machine, doesn't like do the fax machine thing. Rich Sheffrin. Anybody know who Rich Sheffrin is? Hand the camera if you know who Rich is. Rich Sheffrin's like Rich was at WarriorCon 4. Anybody meet him in person? Anybody see him there? It's fucking great. That's how I know Jada, because of Rich. One of the things that's crazy, David, the comment that Rich and Jay both made is like, we've never seen somebody put more high pressure in sales while creating value at the same time while inside of a ridiculous marketing frame in our entire career. We didn't even know it was possible you could do this. I couldn't fucking market my way out of a bucket. 12 years ago, David, I made a decision. Guess what the decision was?
Market every day.
Market every fucking day. Where's my boy? My boy's on here. I just saw him. There he is. James. Bring James in. You sexy son of a bitch. There's that savage right there. This motherfucker started with me. Right here. There he is. Look at him. Glasses. Smart. He knows all these fucking guys. He knows all of them.
I knew you were going to bring James. When you mentioned that, I knew you were going to bring James. 12 years ago, I remember the thing on the bus.
Exactly. Dude, David, me and James sitting 12 years ago, like just about 10 years ago. It was like right now, literally about 10 years ago. We're sitting on a bus in Las Vegas together. He's like way fucking smarter than me, bro. Like way better marketing. I was just trying to figure shit out. I was literally stupid. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. Half the shit that I did didn't make any sense. It was dumb. James, what was different between me and everybody else that was in that group? Well, not everybody. Ryan Stewart was a psychopath and a few others that were part of that group too.
You were way beyond psychopath. It's fucking been phenomenal to watch your rise. Like, and I get it. Like, the people in this room, like, they have no fucking concept of what Garrett has achieved here. It is fucking phenomenal. And the amount of marketing, like watching Warrior 4, just like one of the notes I wrote was just, you know, the level of quality, like the quality of the marketing is so far beyond anyone else. Like I have no doubt Jay Abraham and Rich Efron are just fucking reaching out to you because it's like, it's fucking next level beyond, like it's 4 steps ahead of where everyone else is. And like one of the notes I made was like, I need to just fucking step up my marketing. Like it's not night and day. Like where Warrior is compared to, you only have to look around the marketplace. It's fucking pathetic what most people are doing. And mate, I take my hat off to you, Garrett. It's fucking, like, I remember sitting on the bus and going, dude, like, you need to be doing this, and you need to be doing this, and you need to be doing this, and you were just a sponge and willing to fucking go, I don't fucking know.
David, I was literally, James, like, dude, there were so many dudes. They were so fucking smart, dude. I was so stupid. I was literally stupid. I would pick up a book. I had to read a book like 3 times. The first like 3 chapters because my brain did not fucking compute. I could not make sense of what they were talking about. Like James would talk about headlines. I'm like, I don't even understand what he's talking about. He would look at my phone. He's like, dude, you need to change this and change this and change this. I'm like, okay. And I'm just going and I'm just executing. But the one thing I made was a decision. Like, it was a simple decision. James, I'll come back to you, but a decision. And David, you got to make this decision, bro, for yourself. Like, it's a decision, and it's a decision I can't make for you. James can make for you. Corin can make for you. Nobody in council can make it for you. No one can make this for you. What's a decision that have to be made?
Got to market every day.
Not just that you got to market every day. You can do shitty marketing every day and still be shitty at marketing a year from now. What do you have to commit to?
True story.
Yeah, what do you have to be great at? What do you have to be committed to? Committed to figuring what out?
I've got to be committed to figuring out how I can be excited about marketing with a message that I can get behind. In other words, to get some marketing behind the calling, the impact over income. Because right now I feel like I'm just out there trying to get money, and I can feel the disconnect. And so, this is a big deal for the staffing thing, man. I got to get at this, but it's a fucking war going on within me that I'm not up against it.
Yep. So I'm going to flip the frame in your brain. I want you to master marketing, and then you'll figure out the movement. That you'll actually fall in love with whatever you're selling if you fall in love with marketing. There's no more sacred skill set in life than marketing. Nothing's more sacred than marketing. Without marketing, there's nothing. There's no Christian movement. There is no Muslim movement. There's no Jewish movement. There's nothing. There's nothing. There's nothing more sacred in all of your lives right now than the skill set of seduction, marketing, and influence. So, David, this becomes it's a holy commitment. It's a holy commitment. See, in my world, I know it's a holy commitment. If I can get you to change the way you think and buy some shit that will change your life, this is holy in nature for me. But it started out not so holy. What started out is I'm a fucking idiot. I'm tired of being stupid. And I got to do what's required to make this happen. Study, obsess. I keep trying to tell my son this. My son's like, I want to be a marketer. I said, then you better be obsessed. He didn't even know what I'm talking about. He thinks he's obsessed because he did a live stream for like 3 minutes. I'm like, you think you're obsessed because you did a live stream for 3 minutes? That's not obsessed. How many times you read this book?
Once.
Guess how many times I read this book?
10.
Close. 9. 9 fucking times. Guess what number I'm on right now?
11.
Nope.
10.
10. Yep. About to hit 10. You knew where I was going. I wasn't quite there. Literally, I'm reading this last night. I'm sitting in my house last night, pull this book out, pull my pen out, I'm reading it from the fucking beginning as if I never read it before. I'm just reading it again. I'm reading it again. I'm reading it again. I'm reading it again. And my wife's like, didn't you already read the book? I was like, yeah, I read this book 9 times. She's like, why are you reading it again? Because every time I read it, guess what happens? Guess what happens?
So you find a nuance, you find a new angle, you find a new vision, a new opportunity.
Yep. Dude, you got to get it this year. Like, you got to get it. Like, you got to get it. You get this one thing, dude, and marketing is going to affect everything. It's going to affect your marriage. It's going to affect your kids. It changes you. When you become a marketer, when I see this, I am a marketer. I am a closer. I am a leader, not a savior. These are not just statements. These are mantras of divinity. I am a marketer, means that I'm a beacon for the message. I am a closer, which means I will close your commitments to move and bring heaven to earth through you. And 3, I'm a leader, not a savior. That's been my final struggle. That's been my final struggle, David. That's been a hard one for me. Because I kind of want to save people when they don't want to do work for themselves. It's trouble. It's a challenge I have, but particularly with my kids. Can you relate to this?
Yeah, both levels.
Yeah, I know, dude. You and me are a lot more alike than you think. There's just a version of you we got to crack this year. You gonna crack them this year with me?
Yeah.
Yep. I love it.
Yeah. I mean, and don't look at my words, look at my actions. Of course you will.
Yeah, we are. It's gonna be fun. We got a whole lot of new protocols here with Coach Corbin and Coach Nick and a whole lot of cool, amazing people on the team. Like that 6, 7 dudes from the past of Warrior. They're all here, part of the team, a coach in here. This is not the Garrett Show anymore. It's the We Show. It's gonna be awesome. But I got one question for Corbin before he bounces, because we got Corbin to go handle some other commitments for us right now. So Corbin, you got this being fatness that you got going on. So in the spirit of fatness, I'm not so interested in you taking your shirt off because you look good, bro. You've been hitting that Orange Theory. You're like the biggest man to ever hit the Orange Theory. You'd never in a million years think that his keys to success were Orange Theory. Talk to us about this this being conundrum that you find yourself in. You're one of the lead trainers here, moving here to California with the family here in the next 3 months, but starting in the game with me here. You've been part of King's Council, 100K group. You've been part of Warrior for years. You've been fighting and struggling to put your world together, and God chose you, man. And those that were part of King's Council and 100K Mastermind group, they'll be here this week. These guys all watched it happen. It was the craziest shit we've ever seen gone down. Then we watched Corbin fight it for like 4 straight months, and then I fought it, and it was just a fucking war bath, bloodbath of just us all fighting the calling. And then Corbin went all in. So what's this being thing that you're currently knocking on the door on?
Yeah. So I don't know, around 2012, God spoke something to me that I was supposed to lead transformational training. And I didn't know what it looked like. I had a experience in 2012 of my own personal transformation at a level that I couldn't unsee. And then God told me to sell my company, so I did in 2016. And the hypothesis was I was going to go through transformational training. And I spent 6 years wandering in the desert, not doing it. And I signed up for King's Council, and I still remember Coach, he looked in my eyes around February or March. He said, Corbin, when you're hiding, you're a spiritual leader. And it's like, you can't get me, man. And again in April, same thing, trying to dodge it. And then in June, we had a moment there inside of King's Council where you told me if I wanted, I could come lead the rooms inside a Warrior. And like, I didn't know how to confront it. I felt like Moses, right? Where Moses was called, and he's just a shepherd. And he's like, God, not me, anyone else. And I still feel a piece of it today. I haven't worked for another man since I was 21. Not opposed to it, I just haven't. I've been an entrepreneur for a long time. Made my own way. And part of the agreement was me shutting down my consulting business and coming on full bore with Warrior. And it's created nothing but war with my wife. And bigger than that, war with myself. And death and rebirth, and it's like every 3 or 4 days. I'm just facing my demons over and over and over again, and being willing to lose everything that I know. But knowing at the same time, I'm following what God has for me.
How many think the decision Corbin made was, a big one or a small one? Type in big or small in the chat. Big or small? Yeah, massive. The fun part was it wasn't like Corbin like making a decision, just to do it. Like if you were there in the room, which many of you were not, like literally, I didn't choose him. It was like out of nowhere. Like the whole room was like taken over. It was crazy. You're going to watch this happen in council events. There's going to be moments where God's going to possess the room. He's going to take over the room. He's going to take over the room, and he's going to do shit to you and other men around you that you don't even see coming. And it's going to come from men that you didn't even know had the capability. It's going to come in conversations sitting on my deck. It's going to come in walk and talks around my office. It's going to come sitting here inside of these virtual events every Monday. It's going to happen, and your moment is fucking coming. It is fucking coming. And if you are not ready for your moment, your pivot will be missed. So you throw out the window that you're here to get some big ass fucking blueprint. You're not. You're here for a pivot. There are a series of pivots that you need to make. The being here inside of council, you're going to find them, but you're only going to find them if you're present to them. Does that mean you have to attend every call and come to every single event? No, you need to follow what you are feeling called to inside of this process. There are going to be certain calls you just don't even know why. You're like, I got to be on this call. And there will be a breakout that will happen, and somebody will share something with you, and your world will change forever. The world you will see will not be the same. How many of you can agree right now that being at WarriorCon 4 will never leave you the same ever again? Put your hand to the camera if that's you. Trust me, it's going to happen to me. I got done with that event, and I looked over at a couple of guys and said, well, that's the first event I've ever run where I legitimately felt like I was an attendee at the event too. Like the room was just taken over. By about day 3, I was like, very clear that I'm a participant in this experience at the same time as all the rest of you. Okay, Corbin, so I'm excited to see where this being game takes you. You're dealing with some religious battles and spiritual battles and divine battles and all of this. And the cool part is that here, in order to lead, you just have to be honest. Mm-hmm. So we're excited along this journey of this year for you to figure it out. Yeah, excited for you to figure that out. Excited to see where that all opens up for you. Well done, my man.
Thanks.
Get out of here and go be with your family. Corbin's coming in this week. We got myself and Coach Nick on here. Corbin's coming in for our King's Council event. So we got a 3-day event that starts Wednesday, and we'll be running Wednesday through Friday. We run about 10-hour days, and then we go into the evening late on Thursdays. Going to be a very similar model. Those guys will be here with us. This is kind of an off week for them because they got their 3-day event. They've got 2 more events, one in November and December. You guys are able to participate virtually in that if you'd like to participate. We're inviting you to do that. You don't have to do that. We're just inviting you, right? You won't be able to come in person to either one of those. That's their experience alone for being a person for the rest of this year to conclude their experience. Many of the guys inside King's Council are also going to be part of Warrior Council with you in 2023. As we're kind of phasing out that experience, you'll see them and kind of be part of the process along there with them. We have a couple of agendas for today, a couple of things I want to make sure that you're clear about as we come into kind of the concluding 7 weeks or so of 2022 and really get ourselves catalyzed, really moving in the right direction, all of us standing in a place of power heading into 2023. To do that, today we're going to look at a couple of things that are available for you here inside of Council. Council itself comes down to a couple of very, very specific tools. You have this call here on Mondays. Monday's call is kind of where I played the game. I'll be involved in most of these calls, running them myself with Coach Corbin, Coach Nick, and a couple of the other team members. Right, so Monday is where we kind of do Monday Mayhem. This is not an obligatory call. This call itself is going to be all around focusing on 2 different things. 1, check-in and accountability on what you said you were going to do. You're going to see a specific process that we'll do for that here in the first hour of the call every single week. It's a chance for you to come, connect with your brothers, return a report on, here's the shit I said I was going to do last week. Here's what I did. Here's why I did it. Here's what I learned. Here's what I need to do next. And again, we can use this as a spin-off, almost like a general's tent on a weekly basis. So some of the men have used that for that particular reason, and it seems to work well. We do the call later in the day because it gives you Mondays to be able to handle things with business and life and get that off the game, and then come participate with us at the end of the day on a Monday. Second part of this call is going to be about hot seats and specific planning. My focus with you is to turn you into marketing and selling fucking machines, right? That's it. These 3 things: marketing, selling, leadership machines. I have got to get you to that place because I know that if I can get you to that place this year, if I can get you to play and stand in that place of power as a marketer, as a closer, as a leader, not a savior, the rest of the mechanical go-how, know-how is going to be fairly simple. Right? Implementing what to do. And again, you'll hear me say this thousands of times, and I'll keep saying it thousands of times. What to do is never the problem. It's how to do it, meaning you inside, your capacity to do. Will I do what is required? And can I get enough leverage on myself to put myself in an angle to do what's required? Right? Some of you look at WarriorCon 4 and you're like, man, I want to be part of WarriorCon. I want to build myself a WarriorCon 4. I said, well, good, because WarriorCon 4 was 46 years in the making. And there were a lot of work that went into doing it. right? Including canceling a WarriorCon 4 in 2019 that cost me $600,000. I had to wire the hotel because I canceled the event because the stack told me to. So this leads me to the tools, right? Part of council is not just the fact that we're going to talk about marketing and sales and leadership. That's not just what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about back-end support of the business. We're going to be working on that and stabilizing that and building it. But the most important piece in this is that your backbone is solid inside the tools of Warrior. That you actually live the Warrior's way. So the assumption is coming in here, council, is that you have and that you do. For some of you, this is new. For some of you, you live 1/10 of the way. For some of you, you live 9/10 of the way, or 10, you're close to living the whole game. But we're going to be requiring all of you by the end of Q1 to complete launch, meaning there'll be specific curriculum is coming out. You're just going to have to check it off. Hey, I did this, I did this, I did this, I did this. You'll have to the end of Q1 to be able to have that done. We said we're going to have that done for the first 2 months. We're going to give you a total of 5 months to be able to make that happen. We'll explain more next week about how that's going to roll out, what the checklists are, what the process looks like, etc. But for just know that there is a requirement that we live the way here. Not just that we participate, that we live it. If for whatever reason by the end of Q1 you have not completed launch and all its requirements, you will be downgraded from council into launch until such time that you will be then brought back into the council. So by the time we get done with Q1, everyone in council will be completely up to the same speed with having the same requirements all finished inside of launch. Now, the details of that are going to be released this week, going to be released in the beginning, and we're going to review those as part of a call here this next Monday. So we have two things going on then. We have the call. It's happening on Mondays, number one. And number two, we have the requirements of launch. Okay, and we're going to be rolling those details out this week. Many of you already have the work done, right? You've already done it. For those who've been a Warrior for a long time, a lot of it's just going to be about you packaging and saying, oh, okay, yep, I already did that. Here's this work. Or you'll be able to turn on your phone, rip some answers to some content and some questions, and you will be good to go. Any of the questions, go ahead and send those directly to Coach Nick. Nick, hold those questions. We'll come to them here in just a second. So that's the second piece. Now, we have our council event that's happening every single month too, which is our monthly missions. We broke this down, as I shared with you at WarriorCon. We just found it was more effective. We didn't go out and build some plan to do it every month. We just made the audible earlier this year. Instead of meeting every quarter, we decided to meet every month. And we thought, well, let's see what would happen. It was our 100K group. And so we did. And what we saw was a frequency shift in errors and accelerated results, which is guys were able to get things done faster because we were return reporting every week. Okay. Plus we were return reporting every month. So even if you weren't on the weeklies, you were at least catching the monthlies. Now, half our group traveled here for in-person every single month. Other half of the group traveled here or participated virtually. So we had both elements going. The virtual experience and or the in-person. They work powerfully together. They're obviously different. If you're sitting here in person, you're gonna have a different experience than if you're virtual. Virtual is super powerful too, but gonna be different than if you're in person. There's some upside to being virtual. There's some downside to being virtual. Upside is you don't have to travel. Downside is you're not gonna be in person. There's no physical connection. There's no walking and talking around the office. You're gonna miss some things in the margin that you would catch if you're here in person. But you got options to come to both of those. Now, we're segmenting those up based upon income, where you fit in those groups, et cetera, and determine they're going to be built here by the end of this week. So we'll have those released also for you, ready to announce and talk about here this next Monday. This next couple of weeks up to Thanksgiving is about onboarding you guys into the experience as we transition our current group that is happening at King's Council, blending that group in with you guys and getting you all prepared heading into 2023. So again, 3 specific things. 1, we have our weekly call happening from 2 to 5 p.m. Pacific. Optional, do not have to attend. 2, we have our monthly 2-day experience that you can attend in person or you can attend virtually. 1 month you can come in person, next month you can come virtual. You come virtual every single time, you can come in person every time. If you come, we supply food, you have experience with us, you're gonna get to know the Taco Tuesday game that happens here, we love it. You're gonna be right here at the office with me, you'll see me, you'll see Coach Corbin, you'll see Coach Nick and the rest of the team. Okay, so those are our 2 modalities that are using as far as training experience. Third piece with this end is Warrior Launch, which are going to be the requirements for everybody here to be technically certified inside of launch before you continue into Q2 of 2023. This allows everybody plenty of time to catch up and easily hit the requirements, even if you were starting from 0. Okay, now we'll answer a few questions with these. 2-day meetups are Thursdays and Fridays during the week. Yep, they are Thursday, Friday, Ryan. Yep, never on the weekends. My wife made a decision with me a couple years back. She said, why do you do events on the weekends? I said, because it's, you know, it's the outside of business. She said, yeah, all these are entrepreneurs, right? I said, yeah. She said, so your entrepreneurs already work all through the week and then you make them come do things with you through the weekend only to start working for another week when they get back? And I was like, I like you, you're smart. You're smart. So yeah, so we eliminated and we went to Thursday, Friday. So there'll be Thursday, Friday, some will be Tuesday, Wednesday. They'll be back and forth. Those will depend based upon the group and change up. There will be some ability to bounce back and forth between groups. Once you're assigned to what your group is, which will happen here over the next week, we'll be able to make some adjustments and move some fluid movements with it here over the next couple of weeks to make sure that you're happy with the group that you're in. Let's see, I just started Activate Your Power Challenge about a month ago. I also ordered the black box with all the books. Now I joined council. Should I be doing all these together? I'm a little bit lost. Yep, that's a lot to do in one space, David. So don't worry about it. We're going to put you through the launch protocol. Launch protocol will be much faster. So everything you have is great. All the resource and content with you is going to be perfect. But there's a specific process that Core Winds are going to be leading you guys through here with launch for the guys that are trying to catch up with the curriculum. So for now, you can just start reading in the code. That's where I would start. Start with the code, start with the code, start with the code. All right, any other questions on this that you guys have before we jump into our content for today and our conversations for today? Besides, Joey's got great camera angles. Yes, this call is recorded. Any others? Type in the chat if anybody else got any other questions. Otherwise, we're gonna get rocking. Is there a second call on Thursdays? No, Mike, those calls are not for council. Those calls are happening directly for launch. So launch has 2 calls that are happening every single week on Tuesdays. Where launch has a call at 10 a.m. Pacific called Learn and a call at 1 p.m. Pacific called Live. Those are specific calls to learning the curriculum of the Warriors Way and then living, which is the use of the software and ultimately day-to-day application of the Warriors Way. So those are 2 open source calls, both there to support Warrior Launch Program. You're more than welcome to attend those calls if you'd like or be part of them. Those are run by Coach Trevor and another team. So if you want to join those, you're more than welcome to. If you don't, there'll be a speed-up process that's happening here inside of council for all the council participants. Is Shield continuing for the rest of the year? It is. Shield continues for the rest of the year too. So they'll be happening at the same time. So Jesse, tomorrow when the Shelter and Shield calls are happening, at the same time the Learn and Live calls are happening for launch. So exact same time, just happening from 2 different studios. So I'll actually be leading here for the month of November, all the launch calls. And then when we get into the month of December, we're going to merge Shield and Shelter together into one call. And they'll be having their own experience with myself and John Rulin for the month of December. And then Coach Trevor and the teams will take over the launch call starting in the month of December. Dates in December for a 2-day event for us to attend virtual. Perfect, Christian. Those dates, we'll get all those released out to you today. Or not today, by the end of the week. So we have an entire schedule coming to you. Yep, you got it. It's the time call moving forward. It is. Yes, this is the call time. Dan Seaman, is certification for internal use or will it have marketplace meaning? It will have some marketplace meaning. I mean, at the end of this, our goal is to be able to spread the message. So once you come through and you're certified with it, there will be some opportunities with it. What it really means is, hey, go teach. Go teach, go teach, go teach, right? Our 2 goals here is to get you to a place of competency. Our best way of knowing that you're competent in the Warriors Way is that you've been certified to teach it, that you just did. So everybody that finishes launch will become certified. All right, there's different levels of this, but this will be our basic level certification, which means if you're teaching about the code, great, go for it. You know, people say now, like, what should I do with this? I was like, just give credit where credit's due and go. That's it. The big vision is to be able to get as many people into the software as we possibly can, leveraging these tools and the curriculum, take the Warriors Way in your business or in your coaching business or down line like we're doing right now with 9 or 10 large companies, taking it into their executive teams, down into their employees, and helping this become a deeply operating tool for them as a company. All right, any other questions on this particular piece? Everybody good on this? Okay. All right. Sit back in your chair. We're gonna get grounded for a second, and then we're gonna shift into to the rest of our time for today. This first part of the call was just kind of a connect and let's roll. And now we're gonna get some stuff done. So close your eyes, sit back in your seat. Close your eyes, sit back in your seat. All right, and we're gonna take a couple deep breaths in. Deep breath in, number 1. And release. Deep breath in, number 2. And release. Deep breath in, number 3. And release. Deep breath in number 4. And hold this breath. And hold it. Allow yourself to feel your heartbeat. Just be here. Be here with it. Keep holding it. And release. Sit in this place with your eyes closed. Just be here for this moment. I want you to consider that there is one thing of all the things and all the reasons that you came to this group, that there's one thing above them all that must happen. That when you sit here 12 months from today, looking back to today, and we're sitting in a council call, finalizing the year 2023, heading into Thanksgiving, there's one thing amidst all the things that you have going on that must open up for you. And take a deep breath in and release. And deep breath in and release. Continue to keep your eyes closed. First, notice what domain that one thing sits in. Is it in your body? Something to do with your physicality? Is it in your being, your relationship with God? Is it in your balance, your relationship with your wife, your children, your family? Or possibly it's in your bank accounts and your business. Which of those domains is the primary area in which this one thing sits? Notice what domain that is, and then in your mind's eye, I want you to allow the rest of them to just move away. Brush them in your mind's eye, move them away. Move the other 3 domains away, and just allow yourself to sit inside this one space. And deep breath in. And release. And deep breath in. And release. And deep breath in. And release. Noticing inside of this domain, this one thing. What is it exactly? Is it having something more of something? Is it experiencing something or having something you've yet to have? Is it the eradication and elimination of something? Is it both? Getting rid of something in that domain and also obtaining something new in that domain? What do you see in between these 2 places? Allow yourself to notice what you notice. Notice what you see. And as you're noticing this, I want you to also notice what you feel. If you see these 2 spectrums, these 2 ends, the piece of this that has to go, this thing that must be eradicated, eliminated, or done, stopped, no longer tolerated, and this other piece in that same domain that you desire to have. What do you feel when you look at these items? When you look at this thing, when you look at this fruit, when you look and you consider the weight and the gravity of obtaining this one thing of all the things that could be had. This is the one thing. If it was the only thing that you accomplished here inside of council over the next 12 to 14 months, everything else was extra. Everything else was frosting. But this one thing, this thing was the catalyst that set all of it on fire. This was the peace that when you have it, it makes you feel a certain level of power. It makes you experience yourself from a certain level of certainty. It changes the way that you see and you experience the world around you. Be with what this is. And deep breath in. And hold that breath at the top. Allow yourself to see it. Imagine holding it. These results, this fruit, keep holding your breath. Keep holding. And release. God, today we ask as these men sit here in different countries and in different homes and in different locations across the country, as they sit in different time zones, that right now, even listening to this on demand, that there would be an increase of fire and clarity in their minds and in their hearts about what this one thing is. That even now, Father, if there were things that were selected that were not it, that you would sweep them away with your Spirit, that you would move those things from their mind, that what was currently in place would be replaced with the thing that is truly necessary. The thing that you desire for them to search after and to find in this place. Father, go before them, their ears and their eyes, and as we dialogue and we talk about this today, that there would be a peace and that there would be a wholeness and a fullness that opens up for them, that there would be an awareness and even a birth of something new, a series of seeds that are planted in their hearts, that are planted in their souls, that today, Father, as they feel this, that the weight of what they're feeling, though it would feel with a weight on them, would not be too heavy, but that instead would be replaced with an excitement and an energy to lean into this, not so much moving away from something, Father, but to give them focus on the thing they're moving towards. We ask that the code be operating here, that you give them courage to speak their truth today. There are many men that have things they need to share, things that are going to be embarrassing to share, things that may not feel like they want to share them, but that they would have the courage to share them in their breakouts, that they would have the courage to speak about what is true around this one thing. And that inside of it, that we would be edified today as a group through sharing and through communion and through connection and through conversation is our prayer as we get started today. In Jesus' name, amen. Gentlemen, I'm going to give you 5 minutes. I'm going to turn some music on, and you're going to write. What is the one thing? You can type it up in your notes inside the Warrior app. You can type this up and write this up in a journal. Put this wherever you want. But you got 5 minutes on your time. What is it and why? What is the one thing? What's the domain? What is the thing and why? Then we're going to talk about this. We're going to dialogue this. I'm going to show you how this is going to tie into everything you're going to do the rest of this year and everything you're going to do heading into next year to be able to pull not only that off, but how this becomes the primary domino to pulling everything else off. If you're clear about where we're going to go on this here for the next 5 minutes, type in clear in my chat so I know you're clear. Give me clear up in that chat so I know you're clear. Let's go, 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 let's go. All right, Ron, you know what to do. Give me 5 minutes on that clock. Let's roll it. We got 5 minutes of writing time. Gentlemen, you are typing this out on your own, and we will be back here in 5, 3, 2, 1. Off we go. All right, so we're wrapping up here on that 5-minute exercise. We've got a share on our hands. We're going to go into groups right now. We're going to go for 10 minutes. Give everybody a chance to talk through it. What is it and why? We're going to go 4 to 5 guys per group, Rami. 4 to 5 guys per group. We'll get a handful of you to be here in the main group with me. Blake, son, what's up with that baby, Blake? I love it. Blake, unmute yourself.
Yes, sir.
You getting up with that baby in the middle of the night?
Yeah, pretty much every time.
Cherish it.
Get used to it.
Yeah, that's right, dude. You didn't have babies in your 20s. You just hung out with chicks and made lots of money in your 20s. Now you get to hang out with these babies in the middle of the night in your 30s. How old are you?
39.
Yeah, bro. I was gonna say you're like knocking on that door. You're almost. When did you turn 40?
December, so close. Yeah.
Ooh, it's here, bro. Yeah. Baby, wife, and 40. Knocking down some targets right there. All right, here we go. Great job, gentlemen. Here we go. We're going into a group 4 to 5 minute, or 4 to 5 men, 10 minutes per, 10 minutes inside the experience. We're going about 2-3 minutes per person, depending on how long everybody talks. Everybody needs to talk through this. We'll have a group here with me. Rami, you know what time it is. Let's go. 3, 2, 1. Off we go. Oh, I like it. They brought my favorites. They brought my favorites to the room. We're all my problem people. My problem men for sure. We got Benjamin, we got Kevin, we got two Kevins all up in the same mix at the same time. Kevin, I think last time I was like, Kevin Zebo, I think last time I was on the hot seat with you, we were talking about like a business move you were making, like with, I can't remember exactly what it was. There were some women involved. Was some women involved, Kevin? Did you get a divorce or something like that? Were you like hanging out with some strippers, Kevin? Kevin, were you hiring escorts?
No.
Dealing cocaine in Nebraska? I'm just kidding. All right, here we go. So let's start off. Kevin Montagano, what's the one thing for you? What are you seeing come up for you?
You know what I put as the most important area would be business. You probably thought it was going to be spirituality, didn't you? But I chose business because I started a new business about a year and a half ago, and I've actually hired both my kids to work for me. And the intent is to just kind of be like a legacy company where I turn it over to my son, and he's all in on it. So, we've had some success, but this year, the objective this year would be for me to make 7 figures. Because I want him to see that happen. And the other thing too is obviously, I stepped away, I sold some businesses off and started something new, but I think life just flows so much better when you're making $1 million a year or $500,000 a year, whatever it might be. And, I just think all other areas of my life will fall into place better. Even the spirituality connection, it just seems like 7 figures is a good place to be at in life for everything else to kind of fall into place.
So the one thing for you is the launch of the new business while spinning off $1 million in profit while hiring your kids to work for it.
It's already launched.
Okay.
It's already worked for me.
Okay.
But yeah, so it's just to do. So what I have to do, based on my numbers, I'm gonna have to do about $2.5 million.
Okay.
And profit to personally make $1 million.
Okay.
Give or take. Could make a little bit more. So yeah, that is it.
How long has the business been moving?
I started it in April of last year, April of 21.
Okay, cool. What is it?
Yep. So I have a real estate investment company.
Okay.
So essentially, I've been buying properties. I've been flipping them and stuff. But what we've done recently strategically is aligning with multiple hedge funds throughout the United States, and we've got contracts in place with them. We're an acquisition arm for them. So we're buying properties from them. I will then, if it fits our criteria, and they inspect them, I'll mark them up and we sell them to them. And even in this down market, which happened after insurance happened, we've added 4 other hedge funds. So when things, when the gas kind of gets turned back on the fire, I think we're in a really good position where a lot of people kind of went dormant during this time. We just kind of, did a lot of relationship building, and I'm excited about it.
Were you doing a lot of real estate before? I don't remember you doing a lot of real estate before. I know you were involved in, you had some commercial property, but you weren't like, this wasn't your jam, was it?
I own real estate for only the businesses I own. So all the businesses I own, I kind of had the real estate. I own the real estate for. I actually just sold my last piece of property off in Michigan. Actually, just closed last Friday. So now I have no assets. Well, that was on a land contract, but I have no business assets left in Michigan. I kept like 1.5% of a couple companies to kind of consult. But other than that, this is my main gig, which is exciting because I think the last time as a Warrior, some of the things we do just didn't really apply to what I had because everything was already going. But now this is new, and I can do marketing and stuff. So it's just exciting. It's like I remember seeing guys like Nick and those guys that had businesses that kind of more aligned with what we're doing. I think I have that now. So I'm excited to inject what we're doing here into that and watch it really take off. So
beautiful. Shane, what do you got?
Business is my main domain. The one thing is to create our own leads and get our new clients up to 375 a month. So in the past, we bought a lot of our leads. So we haven't controlled that traffic. So that's to control leads and generate our own leads and get our new clients from 230 to 375.
So you've been that's been like at least on the whiteboard for you for a couple of years. Is that like a serious move this year with that one?
It has been to control them. In the past, we wanted to increase our leads and we usually basically went out and just found other lead gen companies and purchased from them. We found one of our advertising sources and we generated like 9,000 leads to our crappy little webpage in 1 month. So it's fluctuating between 6 and 9 monthly. But with that traffic, now it suddenly makes sense.
shit, now I can control some leads. Now I should be able to convert these. Now I should be able to do funnels. It all sort of makes sense once I saw that we had that much traffic, and we can turn that up once we figure stuff out.
Okay, good. All right, well, good. Well, we can make it over the hump this year. I mean, it's always a challenge. It's always a challenge when you have somebody who can deliver up fairly qualified leads that you can just purchase from. Even in the back of your mind, you're like, kind of held hostage slightly by these guys if they choose to just shut off the faucet. I've sat with two dudes, one they worked with one-on-one this year, another one we worked with just their entire company, and they had some singular faucet games shut off on them in the last like 7 months, and the terror on the backside isn't so fun. So yeah, let's get this solved. That way, if it ever does happen, it's like, whatever. You actually have tons of leverage, too. When you come back door, you may find that you don't end up leveraging any of them anymore.
That happened to us last year, which is what put all this on the radar.
Got it.
Hey, it's a big fucking problem.
Got it.
So.
Clear. Okay, Benjamin, what do you got?
Yeah, so a big thing for me this year is getting into what I'm calling God's flow state.
Okay.
So building a business, it's family oriented. I work with parents around creating a secure container, safe container with their kids, so it's relationship based. And I also film grandparents and parents' life lessons in video memoirs. And that's what I feel is God's calling for me. I got that at WarriorCon 3. Went and built a business, built a digital media company completely by accident. I'm married to it. I'm sitting inside a contract now that's about 6 figures. So this time next year, all contracts end, and I'm inside, standing on my own 2 feet, doing God's work every single day. That's why I'm here.
It's awesome. So we're going to take the current advertising agency, and that's going to parlay into the calling business, which is dealing with documenting grandparents, essentially their memoirs of their life and their final. Here was my life in a book.
Yep, life lessons, stories, wins, losses, successes, and what I found is interviewing grandparents, I see that parenting was done differently 3 generations ago. And today I work with parents, who are stuck. There's a lot of stories, so that they've got to uncover. They're inadvertently passing down their own negative beliefs to their kids, and they're not aware of it. So it's kind of bringing them back to that awareness.
The fun part is to think about the fact that this is like, if done correctly. I mean, this is you can make a ton of money doing this.
That's why I'm here, Coach.
Yeah,
learn from the best.
Yeah, like I already know. I already know like the path to be able to pull that off there. So it's gonna be fun to kind of map this, because the impact on that for parents, impact on that for grandparents. There's a lot of people that will pay. You got like 9 different buyers on this that would pay for this, not just like end user. Probably the last person to buy is gonna be the end user. It's gonna be everybody else in between, which will be exciting to see how it plays out. Okay, beautiful. Kevin, what do you got?
For me, it's business as well. I just need to be in total sync with my soul's purpose. I've been an employee and an employer, being just the operator too much, leading people, but pulling them along. And I just need to have a team of people that I lead with my vision and strategic level thinking in running my businesses. So,
the game is.
I do it too much. Go ahead.
So the one thing is what? Is to get out of the operator position and get into like the owner position of the business? I know you do a lot of owner. I know you're in the trench bench.
Own multiple businesses and just have great people that work for me and follow me, and I provide vision and strategy and that level of thinking.
Don't you own like 9 or 10 trucks that like for Amazon delivery service?
Yeah, I have 15 trucks.
15 trucks? That's right. So is it?
That's my first business, yeah.
Is that a new business on top of that, or is it like scaling, like you getting out of the weeds on that one? Because it sounded like last time I talked to you had a bunch of good drivers and working for you, unless that changed.
Yeah, I'm pretty close to. I can spend probably less than 5 hours a week on that business.
Okay, cool. So this is launching another business then.
So yeah, I've launched another into a franchise that does mobile maintenance, mobile detailing, mobile washing. And it actually supports my initial business, and it's just, I have a territory that's exclusive, and so I've got unlimited growth opportunity there, and
cool.
We're just starting that, so.
Love it.
But it's good, and I've got some good people around me, and I don't want to leave it by going out and doing fucking oil changes. I want to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just energy level and being able to do more.
Are you maxed out right now with the 15 trucks? Like, have you pretty much have your whole area locked down? I can't imagine you can expand much more in that area without going wider, huh?
Yeah, Amazon, with that business, I'm very limited. I can't do a whole lot more from that. And it's just that world, finding people that work for that kind of money is really difficult. And so it's not something that I want to expand beyond Amazon.
Okay, perfect. Beautiful. Okay, Mark, we're going to take your comment in front of everybody together. So we're going to roll together and you get to share with everyone in front of everybody. Great shares, all of you. Well done. Here we go. It's got like a double sign out now. Did you see that, Rami? It's like a sign out and then like a sign out and then like a sign out. It's like 3 sign outs. Did you see it? Is that new? With Zoom? It required me to close the room and then it went to a countdown. Anyway, I'll talk about it in a second. All right, let's go. Mark, where are you at? Mark, where are you at? There you are. All right, let me grab you. Okay, so Mark, give it to me. What's your one thing?
I've got to be the king who can generate leads on demand.
Okay. So inside of the current business, or is that the actual business is developing leads?
No, inside the current business. My wife and I, we are co-founders of Big Impact HQ. She serves as the CEO, I serve as the CMO.
Okay.
And we work with business women, showing them how to use speaking and turn their business into a 7-figure cash machine.
Okay, got it.
So a lot came up for me on this because I've been struggling with leads on demand for ages. I'm a really good marketer and I'm a really good strategist. And I'm ready. I feel like a Tesla without tires.
That's a slow moving Tesla. And what you talk with Coach Nick, just to put that in, everybody right now, type in the chat. Coach Nick, I want you to track these down too. Type in the chat your one thing while I'm talking to Mark. Type your one thing in the chat so that everybody can see this as this thing's popping up. So as I'm talking with him, type in yours into the chat so everyone can see it. Nick, we're going to pull these down again. What is it? What domain and why? Off you go. Doesn't have to be a long paragraph. Just type it in. Start reading everybody's as they're coming through so you can start getting the feel of it. We had almost everybody in the conversation in business in our group, in our last group. So, okay, Mark, keep going.
Yeah, so I've worked with a lot of really great marketers, and that's one of the reasons why I'm thrilled to be working with you. I think that you found a system that works in the world today, and I need the technical piece. I'm really good at the creative piece. When it comes to the science, I understand the funnel. I've done dozens of them and never had any of them really pay off. And I haven't really had the luxury of every time I tried to do paid ads was several years ago when I would pay a consultant to do it, and it never worked. I lost my shirt.
Got it.
So this is a pinnacle piece for me, and especially now in my life.
Yep. Have you heard of strategic seduction?
I have. In fact, I kind of teach a form of that.
Oh, good. Well, you can teach the whole thing if you want to just teach the thing I teach. You can just call it yourself. Say, here you go, I learned this thing, it's called strategic seduction, off we go. This piece right here, regardless of what you're using, strategic seduction is the most potent backbone for understanding modern marketing that I have ever seen. And it's not because I created it. It's a blended combination of 7 or 8 different people that I'd learned from in a way that made sense for me because I was dumb. It didn't make sense to me. I couldn't understand how technical everybody was being, so I had to make it really, 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 really simple. Communicate message, capture permission, convert mindset. The cool part that opened up for me in Stage 3 and Convert Mindset was Russell Brunson's perfect webinar script, which is the entire 4-part story narrative that sits inside of Communicate Message, which really made it or Convert Mindset, which made it really easy for me to think through this in storytelling because I like telling stories. So I was like, oh shit, that's easy. Communicate a message, capture permission, tell fucking 4 stories, compel action, close commitment, collect cash. I was like, done. So all of you, including Mark, this has to become, you have to be able to understand persuasion and influence. Like psychology of human behavior. This isn't just, I learned marketing. We're gonna go deeper in this, all of you. Mark, how does knowing this actually change the way that you interact with your wife? You get these skills for getting.
The first part of that question?
How does learning these types of skills actually affect your marriage?
Well, I think the biggest thing is there is a fear my wife has because she hasn't seen me be in power.
Well, yeah, you're the CMO and you're not delivering leads, yeah?
Right.
Yeah, so let's stop calling ourselves CMO for a second and let's just call ourselves marketer and training.
Sure.
So from here on out, you're going to be called marketer and training until you've delivered the marketing that you want to deliver. What does your wife expect you to deliver in marketing? What do you expect from yourself?
Well, we've got it all organized right now. What I want to be able to do is basically a paid strategy session that would be a speaker audit.
Okay.
So they come in and they would be able to take a personality assessment. I also am a small business advisor with Ryan Dice and Roland Frazier and Scalability.
Cool.
And so they have a great assessment which assesses what's going on the back end of their business, whether they have any kind of operating scale, anything like that. So an assessment, personality profile, and a report of findings conversation to convert the lead.
Okay, cool. So all that's.
I want to sell those at $500 each.
Okay, cool. So if you could get 100 of those and you didn't pay $500, $500 may or may not happen. It may matter. It may not matter. $500 is really just a tripwire to get to a place to make a sale. So whether you need $500, you don't need $500 to do it in the beginning. You're not going to do $500 because we got to get you in lots of conversations, right? You only put up the $500. Once you're done, you've already delivered value. You know you can close. You know you're in that place. Great. Now we can add $500 to it as a barrier to entry, so it's more difficult to talk to you. Here's a piece I want you all to catch, though. Anytime there's an idea one of you brings up that applies to all of you, I'm going to pause, I'm going to stop, and I'm going to draw some shit out. So, Mark, grab something to draw a picture with. Follow along with me here for a second, and I'm going to just put your camera back, and we're going to draw something. There is a book that I'm going to encourage you to look at, and this book by Oren Klaff, we'll get Oren to come in and be part of a couple trainings with you guys this year and counsel. He and I have done some stuff over the years. Amazing author. Made a pretty shitty book deal when he sold the rights to his book to the publisher, and now he sold 1 million copies of Pitch Anything and has no data from any of them, which is super painful. But that was a process that he made a bunch of money on the front end selling the book. That'll help you out with book deals. We'll have him talk about how that happened. But it was interesting enough, I was sitting with him. I actually hired him for a day to come in and do some consulting with us here at Warrior a few years back. And we were sitting in the clubhouse in my neighborhood. And about halfway through the day, I realized real quickly that Oren was really, really powerful and he knew really, really powerful shit. But I had studied his stuff so intently. I'd read his book 11 times and was just reading line by line by line the shit that he was saying. And I was like, how the fuck does he mean? What does this mean? Stacking frames. What is frame psychology? What is framing? And I was understanding from morality framing to prize framing, etc., just how to frame sit in sequence. When you guys were sitting at WarriorCon 4, I was stacking frames on you from the moment you arrived at the hotel in person to the first email that you got. How many of you knew I was stacking you to buy from the beginning, starting down the process with me? Type in hell yes in the chat with me if you know that was the case. From the moment you started down the journey with me, you knew some shit was coming at you. Type in hell yes if you knew. Now, here's the fun part. I hold incredibly deep amounts of tension in a sales environment. You all knew I was going to sell some shit to you before you ever came. Once you're in Warrior, you know I'm going to be always selling. I'm going to be always selling. I am always selling. What? Because I'm a closer. That's what I do. You are always closing. This is not a negotiable conversation. I'm always closing. I'm always marketing. Always marketing. I'm always closing, because closing and marketing are the same thing, and marketing and closing are the same thing. There's not a difference between these two. And leadership, the best form of leadership today is a guy who can market and sell. That guy is the most potent leader that exists in the game. He can drive traffic. He can convert traffic into buying situations or into making decisions. Now, Pitch Anything was where I first learned about this idea of prize framing. And what Mark's talking about is something that I want you to really put in your mind, all of you, no matter what your business is. We've got to all get the businesses that you run into a place where the prize frame runs the game. Now, I'm taking notes on this because you're all going to break out. We're going to talk about this in a breakout session here in just a second. What does this mean? The prize frame means that the buyer in the buying decision is making a decision that you are the value that they need to prove themselves worthy of buying. Meaning, if I'm coming to you, I need to put myself in a place to where my brain thinks that you are the prize. I need to give you money to get the prize. Not the other direction. An example where we did this, and probably the simplest example, was in the hair industry. So in our salons, my wife and I run a brand called DKW Styling. This brand has gone on to do some very, very big things. We've got an event happening right here at the offices, super powerful. We've got salons, we have hairlines, we have wet products, dry products, and a natural bead to row hair extension training method that my wife created at the core. So I ran this business for the first 3 years. Colin Talley, who's here, was part of that team with us for a little bit and helping us get our hair contracts with Beauty Industry Group, which turned out to be an amazing financial game for me and my family. Right, so all of this in the beginning, though, started with a salon. And I was looking at my wife and I asked myself a question. What would it have to look like for a woman to get her hair done to apply? Like, what would have to be true such that this woman would apply to sit in the chair at our salon? Now, this was unheard of. Unheard of. Unheard of in the fucking hair industry. The only people that did this were celebrity hairstylists. Like super big names that charged $1,500 for a 45-minute cut and lived in big salons in LA who were super extravagant and did crazy fashion week shit. Like, that's the only people that ever could get away with this. Normal salons, my wife, single chair, running her salon with an assistant, this is not happening. And I told her, I said, listen, we're gonna do this. We're gonna flip the frame because we're going to charge anywhere between $1,500 up to $5,000 for a session of hair. So this is the second piece we're going to take a look at for all of you, which is premium pricing. Some of your biggest issues, not only is your pricing issues, but is also the fact that you continue to charge too little for what you're doing. Some of you said that about this group. You're like, oh my God, I can't believe you're offering this for less than $50,000. I was like, I know. I have a method to my madness. There's a reason for this. It's a bigger reason than just money. It's as a game of movements and what we're trying to do here over the next like 3 to 5 years, which I believe is we're putting ourselves in position to be able to do that. So this prize frame, though, was about getting them to come in and apply. How could I get a woman to apply to give me money? This came down to reversing the prize. And the prize was a frame that's taught in the book Pitch Anything by Oren Klaff. The minute that I step into an application process, no matter what it is I am doing, the minute I step into this, the prize itself immediately frame reverse. It reverses from you being the prize as the consumer to me being the prize as the business owner selling to you. In Mark's situation, we have to get these women to apply for a conversation. It's more important they apply for a conversation as they even buy a consultation. Application mindset changes the prospect into a place of pursuit. They are now pursuing you as the prize. Your business is the prize. Your strategic partners applying and pursuing you. We've done this in some extreme ways. I have a couple single guys I work with inside of their Tinder and their Bumble profiles when they go through the chat back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. The minute they take these women into the normal chat through text message outside of the app, the first thing they require them to do is fill out a video application from the woman. It sounds silly, right? She has to fill out she has to complete a video application directly with them. And they're like, it's never going to work. I was like, it's going to work. It's like, it's never going to work. I was like, yeah, it will work. Just like my wife said, it will never work to get women to apply to sit in their chair. And now this has become the standard inside of the hair industry with boutique salons with hair extensions. We have to get people into a place, whether it's a real estate deal, a banking deal, a software project. It doesn't matter what it is. We've got to use the psychology of getting you as the prize. You are the prize that is sitting on the other side. Your company is the prize that's sitting on the other side. Your offer is the prize that's sitting on the other side of this application. Without the application, we can't change the frame. If we don't change the frame, then all the pricing power is put in the prospect, not in you. I'm going to get what I'm talking about. Type in the chat, I get it. Type in, I get it, type in, I get it, type in, I get it. So there are some foundational ways of thinking that if we don't get you guys to think this way, it doesn't matter what I tell you tactically, you're going to keep delivering up shit into a cesspool in which your principles are fucked up. The principles aren't working. So you can launch a funnel, you can launch a sales page, you can launch a sales letter, you can do all these things, but principally speaking, the energy is going the wrong direction. So everything looks like it lines up. This was the thing that I had going for me before I had any of the tactical shit working, which is I had the energy going in the right direction. Once I had the energy going in the right direction, it made it a lot easier to lay down the tracks inside of it. And again, some of you are going to be like, this is not possible. This doesn't work in my industry. Bullshit. It works in every industry. I've done it in concrete. We've done it in construction. We've done it. It does not matter. I'm doing steel right now. We're doing software. We do it in real estate. We do it, you name it. Laundry mats, hair salons, financial services, chiropractic offices. It doesn't matter if you offer a service or a product. This principle applies, and we're going to get all of you to reverse the frame on this. So we're going to do a quick 5-minute breakout. I want you to talk about this, each person just getting 1 minute to dialogue. What's this prize frame mean? What is it? What are you taking from this prize framing? And then we're going to keep going with some specifics that I need us to get a grounding on as far as this program and where we're going for council for the rest of this year and next. If you're clear about where we're going, type in clear into the chat. 5 minutes on this, share 555. I just want everybody to get a chance, rapid fire, and talk about this prize framing idea that Mark brought up, because that's what his struggle is going to be. It's what everybody's struggle is going to be. And particularly in a marketplace today where people have so many options. So many options. You are not the only option until, of course, you become the prize. And once you become the prize, you're the only option. Prior to that, you're just another person on the shelf. You're another company on the shelf. You're another investment fund. You're another software. You're another realtor. You're another advertising agency. You're another copywriter. You're another whatever. We have to get you out of the land of another and get you into the singular category of one. I am the singular option inside this game because I have become the prize. Again, that does not necessarily mean that somebody's going to literally go through and fill out an application every time, but the energy of it has to feel that way as somebody's moving through that. American Express did that to me with the Centurion card. It was hilarious. I was laughing my ass off the whole time. They were like seducing the shit out of me. I loved every second of it. Prize framing me, prize framing me, prize framing me over and over and over and over again. All right, here we go. We got 5 minutes on the clock. You do me a favor on this one, Rami. Bring Coach Nick into this group here with me. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, here we go. We got 5 minutes on the clock. 3, 2, 1, off we go. Oh, here we go. We got James, we got Chris, and we got Derek, and we got Coach Nick. All right, Nick, let's roll it, right?
What was that, Coach?
Let's go ahead and roll this breakout. I'm here with you guys.
All right, guys, got a minute each. Let's go, James, you top left to me. So, prize frame, what are you taking away from this conversation?
Yeah, just positioning my business and really working with me as the prize. They've got to earn their way to actually working with me, coming through application. And really that's because the value I provide is 100x what others do. And for that, I receive premium pricing.
Okay, so what is that? What does that prize look like? Is it the offer of 100x? What is it? What's the value you offer that's different than your competitor? I'm gonna come back to you.
Results, simply results.
Okay, everyone says they get results.
Yeah, I work in real estate, so I already provide 100x value. I've got clients now that, you know, they deal with shitty marketers, and I've got a system in place that's been working for my guys that just delivers buyers on demand.
So get in your notes, get clear on what that system is, how you position it, because it's still a little vague. Chris, what about yourself? Prize frame.
So, I mean, the prize frame for me is that it's about respect, right? So when you don't set the prize in the beginning, you don't gain the respect. You know, it's about that frame. They control the conversation. They control you. And you end up just being chased. I mean, so my sales calls the first like 15 seconds. I read Pitch Anything many times. Love the book. My first 15 seconds, I need to set the frame. I mean, set the frame, set the prize. Hey, who's here we worked with? We're the best. We're working with the best. Here's the volume we've done. And I do it in my pitch, yes, but I think one of my goals for this year is to do it even more, right? So is really get on market and become a really marketer. Now from the hustle mode.
So let's get clear on where we can insert it earlier into the sequence so that we're not waiting into the pitch. Because how many people are we losing along the line because they don't believe we're the prize? Clear?
Clear.
Derek, what about yourself? Prize frame, what are you taking away from this? Where do you need to insert it into your business?
I put towards the end as a push-off. In order to take on care with us, they need to agree to our terms, agree to the plan. I call it one for push-off. I'm a chiropractor. They gotta accept all the care or no care. That push-off to me makes them want to be with us more and let them dictate care.
So again, similar question that I had with Chris is how do you do this earlier in the line? Because you're already getting past consult into showing them a care plan. How do you position yourself as the prize? Because I don't know where you are in the country, but if you're anywhere in the United States, there's 50 other fucking chiropractors within 10 miles of you.
117 within about 2.
Okay, so how do you position yourself as the prize?
That's why I'm joint counsel. That's a great question. They're chiropractors in the same parking lot on that. So that is a good question. That's why I'm here. To be honest with you.
So write it down. Now we've got some ammunition to go build up for yourself. You've got to separate yourself. 116 other assholes you got to beat.
One of our biggest, we do X-ray. That is a big separation from a lot of guys around me, and that's why a lot of people find themselves at my office. So there's got to be a way to make switch myself that way. So that is the number one reason I'm here. It's a whole marketing game.
All right, good. Chris, wrap us up. Prize frame. Where do you need to use it?
Between my ads and my first call.
What does that mean? What does that look like?
Application process, having to take an assessment, basically being willing to put myself in a position by requiring this of them when nobody else in the financial services market is doing it, to where they'll be like, what's this guy doing? Why is he asking me this? Like, totally challenge their perception.
What's my incentive to take the assessment? I think this is one of the biggest gaps that most businesses try to put these assessments in front of prospects. No one fills them out because there's no incentive to do it. So how do you make an assessment a prize?
Because it gets them access to me.
Okay. So I can't do a call with you. I can't do a call with you until I complete the assessment.
That could be one thing. Yes. And I got to be willing to become front and center of my business, right? I realize the business is me. It's not anything else.
So is your marketing already short of you inside of in the ads? Are you not putting yourself front and center?
I am, but I'd say about a third of the ads, a third of the appointments end up no showing. So this could be a way I could tighten that up. And
there's an attitude. How do I describe this attitude? There's an attitude that we have to find in more than half of you. Some of you already got this attitude. All of you have experienced this attitude a few times. This attitude, you heard me say this statement over and over again at WarriorCon 4. Somebody type it in the chat. What was the statement I got? Well, I used a few statements. But this one was one of my favorite ones, though. I was using it like a lot. It was my new favorite one inside of Warrior. I don't fucking need you. That was one. Go fuck yourself. Yep, that was my favorite. I just, the minute I started saying it, I just fell in love with it. Half the time I was saying it was completely on. Yeah, put it in the chat. I did say that all the time. Also, you smartass. Yes, completely accurate. Yes. So here was a piece about this go fuck yourself. There's an attitude in you as a producer that has to turn on. And this attitude that turns on is, I am going to win no matter what. Some of you already learned this. Some of you in this group have already learned this. You're either reigniting it back again, or we're just refining shit. You've already got that attitude, but we got to redirect that attitude towards maybe some behaviors or working on pieces of the business that aren't necessarily what you enjoy the most. I don't enjoy taxes. I don't enjoy accounting. I don't enjoy spreadsheets. I don't enjoy budget meetings. I don't enjoy projections. I don't enjoy any of that shit. There's nothing enjoyable about it until I reframed myself around that conversation and chose to become really good at it. Now in that place, I had to activate this thing in me that gave me the energy to go after it. There's a primal side of you that points you into shit in the business you don't want to work on. You don't want to work on it. You're like, fuck it, I don't want to work on this. Some of you, it's marketing. You want to spend all your time backstage, but you don't want to spend any time front stage. For whatever reason, your brain just doesn't think that way. My brain's opposite. I want to be on the front lines of the battle. I don't want to wait for anybody. I want to just go to fucking war with whatever I got. I don't want to plan. I don't want to worry about any details. I don't worry about shit. I just want to fucking go. What way are we going? That way. Let's go that way. When? Now. Why? Why are we going now? Because why would we wait? Let's fucking go now. I'm already pissed that we're still sitting here. Why the fuck are we still sitting here? So my natural game is to go. I had to channel this primal nature into fucking listening and being patient. Being quiet. I was sitting in a board meeting with Keith Cunningham, one of my mentors. Keith sits on my board on both my companies. And Keith and I were sitting there having a conversation in this meeting, and he looked over at me. Keith Cunningham wrote The Road Less Stupid. He's the real rich dad. And Keith said to me, he said, listen, he got a little spicy with me. He doesn't ever cuss, but he got a little spicy. He does cuss, but not too often. He said, he got spicy with me. He said, listen. And I was like, what? He said, I need less warrior and more general in this meeting. Of course, I got offended, and then I said some stupid shit, but that's why he's my mentor. And then he guided me around the corner and helped me see what I was talking about. I was like, okay, gotcha. So I had to channel this savage energy into how to be a general, not just a fucking Maximus. I like to be a Maximus. I just want to fucking fight. That's it. I want to fight. I want to do some shit. I want to build some shit. I want to do this shit. I want to do right now. But to sit back and strategically plan, think through shit, plan shit out, dude, come on, seriously. Why would we do that? It's a waste of time. We'll just make it up as we go. So that whatever the behavior is for you, there is an aspect, and some of you are double fucked because you don't have any of that fire on the front side and you don't have any of that fire on the back side. So we're just out of fire. So we've got to activate this piece in you. That's where this prizing frame plays into it. But the first prize that has to exist, the first reframing that has to occur is reframing you and what you do and why you matter. You and what you do and why you matter. Otherwise, Steve, Shane, we won't go get more leads. We won't go figure out our marketing this year. We just won't. It's too easy. Many of you guys are in situations where you got stuff that's working really fucking good. That's the challenge with shit that's working really fucking good. It's hard. It's hard when shit's working really fucking good. Because you're like, dude, it's working really fucking good. And you're like, yeah, I know, but we're putting ourselves at risk. Or we're creating situations for ourselves where we're in trouble in the next 2-3 years, and we got to make moves now so we don't get in trouble 2-3 years from now. Or we just know we have to diversify in some of our behaviors because we're so centralized that if this one leg goes out, you're not going to suffer. It's all your teams. It's the people that are going to lose their jobs. It's going to be the company that's going to be cut in fucking half if the entire lead source. It's me watching two of my guys this past year in 2022 who didn't handle this situation in one situation. The other one, something happened 9.5 to 10 months before we was expecting it to happen, cost him $7 million, had to let go over 45 different people. It was a fucking bloodbath. So some of you are having to make really hard decisions about breaking your business in order to go to the next place. Some of you are having to make decisions on front stage to get the business even moving in a direction that's above snail's pace. Some of you are already moving so damn fast you haven't spent any time trying to organize shit on the backside, so it's just going to fall apart. But all of this comes back to you gaining capacity in one specific topic. And it's your willingness to access power. But I'm going to have you consider dark power. And I'm not talking about the devil. I'm not talking about you going to some demonic power. That's not what I'm talking about. Dark power is a primal underbelly to creation. How many of you know this savage side of you when your back's against the wall in business, he comes out and he's a little fucking intense? Type in hell yes in the chat if you know this guy inside yourself. Like, he's a dude, when shit goes sideways, you're like, I mean, you can't pay the bills, or somebody goes sideways, somebody fucks you or betrays you, or something goes on and you lose your shit, and you can count on him. He comes out. Yeah, he's your Aaron. Yeah, he's your fucking do or die guy. We have to get this guy on demand. On demand in 2023. Wartime general, yes, Dylan. We can't wait for this guy to show up when shit's bad, because that's the problem. For many of you, you wait until shit's bad and then you activate him. It's like you call in the forces, but like it's already bad. You're like, dude, it's already bad. And that was me forever. Like, I would wait until shit was so uncomfortable, then I would give myself permission to turn this guy on. And the thing that's crazy about this guy in you is this guy in you, he doesn't care about a lot of shit the way the current guy that you were giving permission to run the show cares about shit. This guy in this other place, he doesn't give a fuck about being offended or people being offended by him or being what people's opinions are. He doesn't care. He is very much a subscriber to the subtle art of not giving a fuck. That's why when he says, go fuck yourself, he recognizes that today I only got 5 fucks to give. I cannot waste these 5 fucks on these 12 things over here. These things are unworthy of my fucks. Go fuck yourself. I got 5 fucks. I'm going to fucking put them into things that matter to me. I got to use these 5 specifically. Great book, gave you a whole summary in about 30 seconds. So how do we access this piece? Because in order to win the impossible game, in order for you to win the games that I'm going to require you to play here, in order for you to win, we have to access this piece. This guy's not nice. He's not polite. He's not everybody's best friend. And he's not putting together the next Bible study group. What this guy will do is he'll go to war for the infrastructure to protect the Bible study group. What he'll do is he'll go to war to do the work required to get everybody to show up, and he'll protect the space. This guy is savage. Where do we find this guy on a daily basis? Anybody know? Where do you think you find him? Type in the chat. Where do you think you find him? Where would we hope to find him? In the stack. Now, here's what I know. Some of you are very committed to the stack. Some of you are not so committed to the stack. Some of you were born in the fire of warrior when stacking was who we were. Some of you were born in warrior when stacking was not a big deal. Wouldn't even do it. But stacking is not just rage stacking. My goal for all of you is to ascend through the stacking game this year and to arrive at a powerful place with one singular stack. Bar none, the most potent and the most profoundly powerful stack that you will ever do in Warrior, and every other stack is simply preparation to getting to a place where you are ready to use this particular stack. Anybody know what this stack is? Type it in the chat. Type it in the chat if you know what it is. It's not the war stack. It's not the idea stack. It's a prayer stack. So for those of you who might be here who have experience with stacking and you have not prayer stacked, you will kind of get it, but you kind of won't. For those that are new to stacking period, which we got a handful of you, don't worry, you don't have to jump straight into prayer stacking. But our goal by the end of this year, we get to a place of this year into next year. By this time next year, if you all are not lethal in your communication and communion with the prayer stack, we have failed our mission. We have fucking failed. Failed. In order to access the power of the prayer stack, you have to be willing to access the primal darkness of hell. This means you have to be able to speak the truth. The prayer stack is about direct revelation. And that direct revelation, 80% of them inside of our highest level groups right now are business focused. Which means most of the biggest decisions you're going to make in business this year and next year, they aren't going to come because of something I said. It's not going to be because of some cool training I did. I'll give you all kinds of tools. We're going to bring in my buddies and help us train. We're going to do all kinds of shit to help you guys. We're going to give you all kinds of access points. So I promise you, there'll be no group you've ever been part of. You'd have to invest $250,000 to even get access to one shot glass of the shit you're going to get being part of this program now and through the end of next year. Period. I make it my personal vendetta to make everybody else's groups look stupid. It's my job. It's my mission in life. It's to ruin you. Mostly so that you will go do the same everywhere else, because I'd like to raise the standard in what we experience here. James is part of a group that I was part of with Kevin Nations back in the day, back in 2012 and 13, and he said, you know, the minute you take on somebody's money, you take on the responsibility. And he's like, they're accountable to their own results, but you take on the responsibility of creating an environment for them to have the highest chance of success. And he's like, failure is not really an acceptable outcome, and yet it happens. So we do everything I possibly can here, and part of this is helping you find access points to God that are beyond anything I have to tell you. You don't find this access point, my friends, we've failed here. Like we failed. Like we just did. Like, make no qualms about it. Like, you're not here in this group just to make money. You're going to make a bunch of money. If you don't make a bunch of money here, it's because you tried not to. You legitimately tried to not make money. The big focus we have here in this group is being able to get you to a place where you can access the savage side of who you are, and that you can do it in communion with God as your GPS, not as some meme on the Instagram, as a reality. That God is in direct communion with you, and that you trust yourself enough to lean into revelation that He is giving you to make moves in your business, your marriage, and your life. The rest of the group is here to mirror back to you what that looks like and what it doesn't look like. So you can see what it's like from guys that aren't doing it and from guys that are doing it, so that you can kind of be in that experience together with them. Like, we're going to love on each other. I'm going to love on you here, but I swear to God, you don't fucking learn to stack. You don't do the work here. Dude, I won't even take your questions. Won't even take them. Like, won't even take them. Because at the end of the day, if all you've got is the ability to keep asking questions, but you don't have the willingness to do the underbelly work directly with yourself and God, then in the end, you're always going to be dependent on the next mentor, next mastermind, next group. And my ultimate goal for you is to not need warrior at all, but to be able to go forth with the tools and live in fire and make millions and millions of dollars a year in take-home income. Millions a year in take-home income. Tens of millions a year in take-home income. You have to be fucking rich. Because a man that's connected to God, that's on a mission and doing what he's been called to do, who has resource, that man is dangerous. A man who's not a whore for the money, but a man who's committed to creating it. That man is dangerous. It's a dangerous man. Everybody wants to get all pumped up these days with boxing and jiu-jitsu and fighting, and I'm like, cool, I get it, I understand it. 99.9999999% of power in this game has nothing to do with that shit. It's a piece. It's a piece. It's a piece. We are in a day and age where the warfare you are being called into is a spiritual war far more than it is a physical war. It's a war of the mind over you, your spouse, and your children. It is a war of souls that is happening before your face every single day. Yes, there's violence. Yes, there's sex trafficking. Yes, there's a whole lot of dark shit and overdose and obesity and diabetes and divorce and murder rates and everything else, and lying and pillaging and raping and killing and stealing, and all of this shit is true. But the war you're facing most days has nothing to do with anyone out there. It has to do with you right here. You, and you. You want to lead your business to a bigger place? You're going to have to grow. You want to make more money? You're going to have to grow. You want to have the deepest, most intimate sexual relationship with your wife that is beyond orgasm? You're going to have to grow. You want your children to lean into you with power and certainty? You're going to have to fucking grow. You want to stand as a beacon for your community? You're going to have to grow. It's not easy at any level. It's simple, not easy. Okay, we're going on a 5-minute breakout. What are you getting from this? What are you hearing from this? And then I'm going to draw this frame with 6 simple steps I want you to follow and look at that will help set the container for where we're going to go. And we're going to wrap up for today with a few other experiences together. So if you are clear on what we're going to talk about for the next 5 minutes, I just want you to dialogue this. Dialogue this. I don't need specific examples. I want you to give back. See, I'm going to say shit a certain way here, and then there's how you hear it. What you're hearing is most important. Don't want to go on some tirade. I want you to get, what are you getting from this? What are you getting? There's something inside of this. I'm a weapon. I don't have all your answers. I do not. But what I do have is the willingness to smash you in the face with a fucking crowbar. And then when I do that, you're going to crack. And when you crack, there's light that's going to come in. And when that light comes in, it's going to activate things. You're going to get ideas. You're going to get insights. You're going to get inspiration. You're going to see innovative ways of moving in your business, your marriage, and your life that you wouldn't otherwise see. So my job is not to deliver all the answers. My job is to create the container and to deliver the collisions that no one else will give you. So that inside that place, the ultimate answer, the man with the ultimate ability, the being, the supreme being with the ultimate guidance system for you, can step into your world and drop the seeds necessary to birth the fruit that's going to change your life. If you get what I'm talking about right now, type in I get it. Type in I get it in the chat. You all know you didn't sign up for a happy clappy mastermind. This is not what we are. This is a training protocol. It's a warrior council for a reason. And you're going to fucking win. I swear to God, you will win here. You will win here. You will win bigger than you've ever won in your entire life for the next 14 months if you will give yourself permission to go. I have all the tools, I have all the weapons, we have all the networks, we have all the resources, we have all the information that you need as you need it. But you don't get this piece. Doesn't matter. All right, here we go. We're going to go 5 minutes on this share. 5 minutes on the share. Yankee Coach Nick in my group. Rami, we got 5 minutes on this share. 4 to 5 guys per group. 3, 2, 1, and off we go.
What's up, guys?
Hey.
Coach Nick, let's roll.
Nick, you're on mute.
Can mute Coach Nick.
Nick, you're on mute.
Mike, what's your biggest takeaway from all this?
Yeah, so this became clear to me. I am right now. My industry is getting decimated, and I'm finding that I tap into Dark Warrior only when I absolutely have to, and that's what's happening now. And if there's any one thing that we've done a decent job, but nothing close to like what I know I could have and should have done if I was able to tap that on demand. And so, like, my conviction is, and I told the team today in no uncertain terms, I said, you guys are going to see another side of me that you're not going to like for a while. And doesn't mean I don't love you, it's just we have business to handle, and that's who I'm going to be for a while until we get through this. So don't expect inspirational Mike, don't expect me to be kind. We have things we need to handle to get through the season. And so that was a very candid conversation. So that's where my mind is right now. I need to, if I don't have to get pushed to the limit to bring this out, that would be a gift because I could have saved myself a lot of pain.
Hold on to that energy, but realize just because you have to go into the dark power, dark warrior, doesn't mean you have to be an asshole. It's a different energy, but it doesn't mean you have to hit everyone in the mouth. You just need to bring the fire and you need to bring the intensity. Shane, what are you taking away from this conversation regarding dark power using the stack?
For me, that's one of my things is to go deeper on the stack this year versus a lot of surface level stuff and really light on the emotions, I guess. I even looked at a feeling field or whatever to look at and find more. And
to access the dark warrior, I didn't really get that until he said it. You know, that's the person you're talking to inside of every single stack. I have not seen that way, and it may be because I left rage stacks early on, or overall I'm just not a very angry person. And getting into that dark warrior power is very tough for me because most of the time my life is very good. That's what I would say. So I haven't been, you know, do or die, make or break in a while on a lot of stuff. I can think of a couple times last year where I did, but it was pretty isolated incidences. And I got some fear and stories around hurting people's feelings or them getting mad and quitting. And then I'm like, fuck, now I'm in a worse spot than I was a minute ago because now I got nobody to do your fucking job.
Okay.
You know, you weren't doing it anyway.
So I want to challenge you as you're getting into this journey over the next 12 to 14 months, go back into the rage stacks, go back into the angry stack. Again, we don't have to be assholes in person. We don't have to punch them in the mouth. That's why we have these tools. You don't want to hurt someone's feelings, great. Obliterate them in your stack. Then take your lesson, take your revelation, and go lead them with that energy you gain from it. Clear?
Yeah, clear.
Bryce, what are you taking away?
For me, it's freedom and I'm just like a mercenary. That's what I am. That's what I do.
How so?
Because it's lead, follow, or get out of my way. I mean, it's just kind of coming back from work on. I can't, with my colleagues, it even happened today. I'm just like, you're fucking stupid, and I'm not going to do this. And this is the way it needs to be done. This is the way I'm going to do it. And it's combative. It's you know, it's not punching everybody in the mouth, but it's just like, look, man, this is fucking the way it is. This is the way it's going to be, and if we can't resolve it, then fuck it. We're just going to have to go fight it out.
So how do we change your mentality from mercenary to general? Mercenaries just go and execute. Generals lead. You're not going to lead.
Tactical. You're the tactical man. Be tactical. Combine the logistics skills that I have plus the lethal skills that I have. Combine them and use them when they need to come out. If I need to be a logistician, be a logistician. If I need to go in there and be a tactician, be a tactician. But combine them both, and whatever the mission needs, that's what I need to apply.
Good. Michael, round us off. What are you taking away from this conversation?
Yeah, I just, in listening, I need to get my certainty back from the results and revelations I'm getting in action items from the stack, just like Mike in the industry that's just gotten clobbered this year. And a lot of decisions that I thought were awesome decisions at the time turned out to be really bad decisions. So getting that certainty and trust, I guess, is a good way to put it, back into when I'm coming with the stack, and knowing that it's not just me mentally masturbating myself, and actually there are actions that I should be applying to my business.
Who's the trust you need to get back?
My own.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you need the trust that the Dark Warrior can go into those bad decisions and extract what he needs. All of us can trust bad decisions. All of us have made bad decisions. There's lessons inside of there that we got to take out.
Yeah.
But only the Dark Warrior goes in and pulls them.
Got it.
Okay. So guys, last piece of this, get into the rage stacks, get into the angry stacks. If you're avoiding them, you're avoiding your dark power.
All right, so there's a question that comes up anytime I talk about intensity. People are like, well, Coach, I'm not really like raging all the time. It's okay. The intensity of the Dark Warrior only rages when he's been suppressed. Typically that happens when you are surprised, betrayed, and surprised, right? Which means you don't see something coming. Some of you are in the mortgage industry right now in the real estate space. And you're going to be faced with a lot of very difficult decisions because shit's not going to get easier. It's going to get fucking ugly. It's going to get way worse than 08. Way worse. You have factors going on right now that are exponentially bigger than the factors I had going on in 08 when I exited the industry. And I remember making a decision in 08, and that decision was like, I'm done. And it wasn't because I was done with the industry, it was just I was done. It was a season for me to choose to pivot. Some of my buddies at the time, the decision was the opposite, which was it was time to double down and get very, very focused inside that space. Many of you were in that space. The industry right now is being decimated. It's going to eliminate 80%. You're gonna watch all these realtors gone, mortgage brokers gone. You're gonna watch entire funds disappear. Entire banking lines are gonna, wholesale banks are gonna fucking dry the fuck up like sponges in the desert. Shit's all gonna retract. And in that place, you're gonna be left with a decision, because the good news is for all my guys in that space, if you choose to stay and play in that place, then you only have two choices, and it's not try to survive. It's either get out or go to the top. Get out or climb. There's no survive. There's climb to the top of the fucking mountain to rare air and take over, because when it comes back, you will be in charge of everything. War, get out, do something new. All of you, though, no matter what you're in, whether some of you are in industries where you're not being bombarded at all, you're actually in the opposite. You have rising opportunity. That's why there were businesses like our salons were completely shellacked during COVID restrictions. Our girls were looked at as non-essential. Our salons were shut down. We shut them down the first time. The second time we refused to shut them down. We put up black fucking plastic in the windows and worked my girls across the country. Everybody worked. We got our attorneys to back us up, all of our letters, everything in a row, ready to support anybody where the government tried to get stupid. Fortunately, we didn't have to deal with any of it. There were moves that are being made. During that time, there were other opportunities in software where software companies have exploded, where other industries are being tanked. There's always money being made. Always. Right? You come into a recession, which we're heading into a recession. Great. Right? Recessions affect a certain number of people. They affect everyone, but there's only a specific group of people who really get destroyed. If you choose to produce and keep climbing, you'll play up above it. This is, I want you to consider the statement and the phrase that God uses, which is be in the world, but not of it. There is a way to operate above the fray, to operate above the line, to play in a game that's in the world, but it's not of the world. That's why for me, politically, I've unplugged all these things. I feel no draw to it. God's like, you did what I needed you to do. Now you're done. I was like, do I have to get all fired up about politics anymore? He's like, no, you do not. I need you to do exactly what you're doing, which is you and me right here. Motherfuckers, right here. Us. We're the focus. This is not a lackadaisical year. You are not ending in 2022 coasting in. We have to access this darkness, but this darkness comes in different versions. Some of the versions of this darkness is going to come at you from just like rage. It's like, fuck! Some of you should be pissed. Because you made decisions, you got lazy, you got relaxed, you got comfortable. And because you got comfortable, you got surprised. And for many of you, it's not a problem. You personally are not going to go fucking bankrupt. I know 4 or 5 of you referencing that are on this call right now in the real estate space. You're not going to go broke. You will find a way, but you're going to be confronted with decisions, cutting your teams in half, dropping entire lines of business, and having to make some hard decisions. In 08, I sat there, let 100 people go, including my mother, my brother, my sisters. All these people worked for me. It's fucking horrible. Hated it. Now, I was not too good of an entrepreneur at the time. 46 right now. Right? Time was just over 30. Like, I didn't really know what I was doing. I kind of knew what it was. I kind of didn't know what I was doing. Nowadays, it would be heated. Again, Mike Hardy, you can pull this off. But there's hard decisions that have to be made. So some of you are going to be in a situation where you're going to have to access this rage, but you can go broadcast this rage on your teams, or you can pour it into a stack. And you can process all of that frustration and have it all brought back out to specific execution. Don't try to keep it in. This is the problem with some of you who are very calm and collected. You're very deep thinkers. You're very good at keeping things locked away. But inside, we got hurricanes happening. We got to get that hurricane out. So the second phase of this then is just to understand you can be angry and irritated. Our ultimate goal is to have you in a place you never have to do rage stacks. Why? Because you're never surprised by anything. Your capacity is such that you don't get overwhelmed when shit's happening because you've been consistently moving through the game. I started doing something simple. I started doing 150 to 250 push-ups when I did my stacks every morning. I would get done with a specific section of the stack, and then I would do 25 push-ups. And then I'd get done, I'd do 25 push-ups. Then I added 25 push-ups with 25 sit-ups. I'd lay down, do a get up like this, get up, and I'd do 25 of those. So I'd do 25 push-ups and 25 get-ups. And then a few weeks later, I added air squats. So I'd do 25 and 25 and 25. By the time I got done with my stack in an hour and a half, I'd done like 200 to 250 push-ups, sit-ups, and air squats. I was feeling on fire. Plus, I got a Tony Robbins rebounder trampoline thanks to Mike Isom. So I'm like jumping onto the trampoline. I'm having this activity. Well, it was small things that I was adding. And I was like blown away at how my body was changing just by simple shit like doing some push-ups every day. It wasn't even that complicated. First it was super hard. I was kind of, this is kind of a lot. Then I was busting out 50 push-ups straight, no problem, nice and slow. Body was just adjusting. I could feel it happening. This is what's going to happen inside the stack. There's going to be a slow, subtle progression that's going to come at you in a way that you don't anticipate. You're going to move away from rage into anger, and then away from anger into irritation. And now things will just irritate you. And again, the ultimate game is that all emotions go directly into a prayer stack. You bring rage to God, you bring anger to God, you bring irritation to God, you bring excitement to God, happiness to God, joy to God, sorrow to God, pain to God, guilt to God, shame to God. You bring it all to God. And you put it at his feet and you say, here's what the fuck is going on for me right now. I want you to know this, God, about what I'm feeling. Here's what I'm thinking about the business I'm in. Here's what I'm thinking about my teams. Here's what's going on for me, as if he doesn't already know, gentlemen. Most of you are not leveraging the stack with intensity. I don't need you to do 5 stacks a day. That was an old model. No. I need you to be committed for yourself to 1 stack a day that counts, that matters, that moves the needle. But to get there, we have to get back in the rhythm of giving you permission to say some shit, speak some shit into an environment that is safe. I'm going to get what I'm talking about. Type in hell yes. Type in hell yes in the chat if you get what I'm talking about. You cannot get away with leading people if you do not leverage some kind of outlet. By the way, top producers in the game I know, they go to therapy until they find the stack. Do you know how many do you know why I'm going down the path to get my degree in psychology and ultimately become a psychiatrist? There's a bunch of different reasons why, and it has nothing to do with getting a degree. I'm also going to own a pharmacy. There's another reason behind that too, but that's going to take me a couple of years to own a pharmacy and become a psychiatrist because I got to go fucking medical school. There's a whole lot of shit required for this, more than I was thinking. I'll explain more why. But going down this process, down this road, this whole journey, I'm sitting and talking to therapists, and we watch what happens as our guys walk into therapy, and they drop their stacks every single week on the therapist, and therapists like, whoa, what is this? I'm like, that's the work I did this week. How about you talk with my wife? Shouldn't have a stack. How about you talk with my wife? She doesn't have a stack to talk about. So we have got to put ourselves in a place to win, which means I got to get the truth out, and I got to get the truth out on a daily basis. Now, here comes the big kick in the day. I'm not talking about you stacking at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm not talking about you stacking so you feel comfortable when you go to sleep at night. I'm talking about you stepping into stacking in the morning. This is counsel. I'm not giving you the freedom I'm giving launch. I want it done in the morning. I want it to be the first thing you do. You're like, oh, my brain doesn't wake up. Great, go work out and then come stack. I want you to consider that the most peaceful time of communion with God is sitting in the silence and the stillness of the morning. Oh, I don't wake up. Good, then you miss revelation. And you make 7 decisions this week that put you completely off track. Hope that extra hour and a half of sleep is worth it. How many of you see what I'm talking about? Type in I see it. Type in I see it. Like, gentlemen, there's nothing more sacred to me in my entire life than what my stack game is with God every day. Nothing. I wake up and lean into it every morning, 15 minutes from the time I wake up to the time I'm sitting in the same chair with my iPad every single morning. If you got an iPad Pro, stacking on the stack tool inside iPad Pro is miraculous. It's amazing. For those of you who are brand new to the stacking game, give yourself some grace. We're going to give you the launch protocols. You're going to go through it, but I'm going to walk you through a couple conversations with this right now. And I want you, like, us accessing this is a non-negotiable. Like, everyone has got to get to this place. You cannot roll into a council meeting and trying to solve problems, and the guy you're walking and talking with says, well, did you stack it? And you're like, If you're unwilling to stack it here, it's going to make your conversations with everyone are going to be weak. They're going to be different. They're going to be struggle. It's going to be frustrating. Here's the first word that we have to master is a conversation of perspective. This is the first obstacle to being able to pull down the number one thing that you're looking for, perspective. And all we're talking about with perspective is the ability to get clear, your clarity. This over and over again, over and over again. This is the biggest issue that gets in the way of you being able to pull off what you want, is your ability to align perspective and get what you see clear enough to be able to see options. To see options. If I can't see options, then I'm stuck, I'm slammed. Perspective brings clarity. I have to get clear. Stacking and living by the code is about getting clear. It's honest in ways in this group that are not going to be comfortable for you. Not going to be comfortable. It's not fun. There's nothing fun about it. There's nothing fun about falling down at the feet of God and saying, here's what's going on. The crazy part you'll find, and I want you to test this week, no matter where you're at in the stack game, I want you to test this in a prayer stack. Test taking it to his feet. Look at it like an altar, like Abraham of old. We're building an altar and we're placing on this altar truth. Truth. Here's the truth about where I'm at. Here's the truth about what I want. Here's the truth about how I'm feeling. Here's the truth about what I'm thinking. And then being able to put that on the altar. God, I want you to know this is what I'm feeling. God, I want you to know this is what I'm thinking. God wants you to know this is here's some dark shit I've been thinking. Over here, some things I've been thinking. I got guys talking about wanting to kill themselves, guys talking about wanting to leave their wife, leave their children, guys want to burn business to the ground, etc. A lot of shit that is very difficult. Some of you have gotten so good at being logical that you have lost the power of multidimensional living because your logical way of being is one-dimensional. It's feelings that opens up the parameter. It opens up the window of this range of opportunity of perspective. Second piece, plan. This is driving everything inside of your game with confidence. So our perspective is one challenge. Our second challenge is you having a clear plan. So one of the things that's going to have to be done between now and the first part of December is you are all going to have submitted your fact and freedom maps. There'll be specific pieces in it. If you don't want to share it all, you don't have to share it all. But you're going to show that you are done with them. I refuse to go into another year in 2023 where I got a percentage of the guys who were not up to speed. Because when you come into your monthly meetings with us, the rhythm and intensity is going to assume that you have been working out the plans. And that starts with foundational fact maps, freedom maps, focus maps, and fire maps. We're going to show you all these collaborate and work together. But this game of perspective is leaned up to the next piece, which is the plan. This weekly call is here to support you in the perspective, here to support you in the plan. This one's a different call. This call is going to be far more collaborative. We're working on stuff, longer working sessions, 15, 20 minutes, working through different ideas, getting feedback, hot seating, moving through the conversation and towards your freedom, not mine. I'm after different freedom than you. Our freedom feels the same. It feels the same. But I'm after different freedom. I'm not after your freedom. Your wife's not my wife. Your kids are not my kids. Your family's not my family. Your life's not your life's not my life. My life's my life. Your life is your life. I don't know what freedom is for you. Some of you live lives that are completely in ways that are freedom that I desire. And some of you live lives that are complete bondage to me that I would never desire. And then we switch a category, and some of you are in that same place where you're in bondage to me, you're in freedom in others. So it's all personal perspective. But it's all driven by a plan. You have to be willing to follow the tools and the protocols to build the plan. You can half-ass and use part of the tools here, or you can give yourself a chance to experience the full power of all of them. All of them. Some of you have different tools you use outside of Warrior. I'm encouraging you to just submit. Not to me, to submit to the game. Give it a chance. Give it a chance, play the game the rest of this year, play it through Q1 of next year. If the game's not working for you, you can tell me to go fuck myself. But I will know that you will not be telling me to go fuck myself because the game works. You'll be saying the opposite. You'll be saying, thanks, coach. I wish I'd done this sooner. I was like, I know. Some of you keep dabbling in this game. You dabble. You only participate in like 10 to 15% of the fucking game. Give yourself a chance to execute on all of it. Third obstacle, power. And all of this is about your capacity. Your perspective is driving clarity, your plan is driving confidence, and your power is dealing with your capacity. This is where Core 4 comes into play. Like, Core 4 is a must around here. Well, coach, I track Core 4 in my head. No, you don't. Go fuck yourself. You don't track Core 4 in your head. Stop it. Stop lying to yourself. Stop. Please, stop lying to yourself. I love it when guys like, I track Core 4 in my head, and then they show up and I look at them and I'm like, well, it's obvious you're not tracking body. Because the last time I saw you, you were 25 pounds lighter. And now you're 25 pounds heavier. This is the coolest part about this group, is the fact that you're going to be held accountable to men around you based upon how they're living and you're living. Our goal is for you to feel uncomfortable and to feel comfortable. The men who play the game are going to feel comfortable. The men who don't play the game are going to feel uncomfortable. But the men who play the game who feel comfortable will first have to feel uncomfortable by playing the game, which means no one gets to feel comfortable. Everyone's going to feel uncomfortable, and that's what makes this group work. It's not about being perfect. You do not need to make shit up around here. Please give yourself a chance to just tell the fucking truth and own where you are. Just own where you are. At least here. If you're too nervous to do it outside, then I get it. But it starts here, but it starts in your stacks. It may be a few months. It may be half a year before you can be fully honest with the group here at levels you know you need to. Great, then start in the stack. Start in the stack. Start in the stack. But your Core 4 every day, you and I both know that your Core 4, it matters. But all Core 4s are not created equal. Just because you checked 8 boxes doesn't mean you hit the same Core 4 as I did. You want power here? Treat it serious. Guys will tell me, well, I want to create A, B, and C in my business. I want to take home $1 million in profit this year. Like, cool. Can you master your morning? What do you mean? Can you track your Core 4 and hit a stack every day? You know what? It's hard. I mean, this is like going down to the River Jordan to washing yourself 7 times kind of thing. I got leprosy. I want to heal it. Cool. Go to the river and wash yourself 7 times in the River Jordan. No, I don't want to do that. It seems stupid. I don't want to do that. I don't want to go to the river and wash myself 7 times. It seems stupid. What? Just go to the river and wash yourself 7 times? No. Like, I can't possibly. It was wrong with waters where we're from. I don't want to go wash myself in the River Jordan. Why would I go wash in the River Jordan 7 times? It doesn't make any sense. How would I go wash my Lord 7 times and clean my leprosy off? This doesn't make any sense. There's shit I'm going to tell you to do here that doesn't make sense until it does. And all of it is wrapped around these first 3 words: perspective, plan, and power. Word number 4, production. Once we get these aligned, production itself is all about creation. Now this is when we're producing results. And you're like, man, that's a lot of things to be engaging with and dealing with. I got this perspective thing I got to deal with. I got this plan thing I got to deal with. I got this power thing I got to deal with. I got this production. Wait, I got 3 things to deal with before production? Yeah. Otherwise, what kind of production are you taking? We're going to slow you down, and there's going to be a lot of work around you as the weapon, so that when the weapon begins to produce the art of creation, that the creation itself begins to produce something that liberates you. Many of you are not too many clicks away from big money this year. Some of you are a lot of clicks away. No bullshit. You got a lot of work to do. Some of you are a couple clicks. Some of those clicks in your business are not going to come from your business. They're going to come from your marriage and your relationship with your wife. How many of you know right now that if you could get a couple dialed up clicks inside the relationship with your queen over the next 3 to 6 months, this would have a dramatic impact on your production in business? Type in me in the chat if you know that's you. Because I will tell you right now, my ability to be connected with my queen right now, sex, intimacy, communication, and love, desiring to be with one another, craving one another. Gentlemen, I've fought for this my entire career of being a man. And it was in this year, 2022, where everything fell into place. Not by luck, not by chance, by design. And when it did, I was like, oh my God, it happened. I'm like, oh shit, this is my life. I knew this was possible. There are many of you, although you put business up on the game, the access point to your business will come through the seduction of the queen. Arguably the hardest sale I've ever made in my life is reselling my wife on being all in with me after cheating. Even up this last pregnancy, my 12-year-old was when she was pregnant with Ruby, I cheated. This last pregnancy with Charlie, who's 10 months, she'll be a year old in December. Even in that pregnancy, my wife was still triggered with fear. And I was like, I fucking did this. I did this. And there's a submission to God, gentlemen, that is going to give you the access to power in production at levels that you cannot imagine. Like legitimately, you cannot imagine. Fifth obstacle, people. Once we've got the plan, the power, production, now we're going to be dealing with people and your connections. There are some of you here in this group that are going to become business partners, period. I already know it. Right? There are. You're going to be in alignment with people in this group. And there are some of you that will build strategic relationships, strategic partnerships. You will do business together. You will create millions together, tens of millions together. We have tons of examples of this, of men that came to this place and in these groups found the people. But outside of finding the people here, it's being inside of this group that will allow you to hunt the people down that you must have. But the crazy part is your perspective, your conversation of personal power, your ability to execute the plan, your ability to execute a production, all of this leads to the people. Right now, some of you are facing one critical move in hiring this year, and that's it. One hiring move. There is a mission critical person who is missing from your team, and because that person is not on your team, you continue to drag ass and the anchor of production at the level it is because you won't invest in the right person, or you won't continue to bring on more people onto the team. How many of you know this is you? Type in me in the chat if you know this is an issue. You are currently outgunned, outmanned, and do not have the right people on the team, and you've been unwilling to invest in the right people for whatever reason. Like 99 out of 100 times, I get a unique opportunity now in the space I'm at in business and life. Like I really like it. I enjoy it. It's very fun for me. People fly to my house, I get flown to people's businesses, I get to work inside of really complex businesses, and I get to deal with people issues. This is why they bring me in. People and process issues, which is like, how do we get all these fucking people to get on the same page with a diversity of people from what the iPhone generation kids clear up to the baby boomers trying to help this whole gap of people communicate. It's complicated. I just happen to be really good at it, and I'm absolutely outside the box. But one of the unique pieces in dealing with this is the fact that human beings at the core now, they operate as predictable as they ever have, only they're in more pain than they've ever been in. They are wanting you to lead them, but they're wanting you to lead them comprehensively, Many of you must build a culture in your business that is desirable, that when people work for you, their lives and their marriages and their children's lives improve radically by simply working with you inside of your companies. But you've not looked at your people this way. There are many of you that need to invest more into your clients. You have amazing people in the form of clients, but your obstacle is the fact that you continue to not invest in them with the level of expectancy that you demand from them in action. This game is not a complicated shit, but it'll never happen if we don't deal with perspective, we don't establish a plan, we don't access power, we don't start getting you into productive moves with creation. Ultimately, people will just sit over here. They won't follow you. I'm a marketer, I'm a closer, I'm a leader, not a savior. 3 critical moves inside the way we think. This game of people, more than ever, men who can live the warrior's way publicly. You will attract the top talent. You will attract the most high-level producers. In many cases, you will attract entrepreneurs who can collapse into entrepreneur positions with you and make more money and more impact working for you than they could by themselves. There are many of you here. I say this, and I say this very delicately. Just hear me for what I'm saying. There are many of you here who would be better served as entrepreneurs inside of another psychotic entrepreneur's business. And you would make more money, and you would make more impact, and you would have a bigger future by doing it. I didn't used to speak this way, but the more I'm out and about inside of life and just seeing the amount of data points and watching the number of people I get to see, if the game is success, if that's what you're after, there's a lot of routes to get there. The spirit of entrepreneurism is the ultimate gateway. But there are many of you who are going to need to go out and recruit and enroll entrepreneurs to move into entrepreneur positions inside of your companies and be able to create the greatest seduction loop ever that allows for them to feel free to create a life that is bigger than they can on their own, but to do it inside of your playground, where they are given stewardship over part of the kingdom. How many get what I'm talking about? Type and I get it in the chat. Type and I get it in the chat. So there are handfuls of you. This is the game. Those in real estate right now, mortgages, banking, all of you are in a place where the exodus has begun. It has begun. You have more talent sitting paranoid and terrified about who to follow right now than ever before. A part of me wishes I was in the game. Like that shit had gone down like I was in it now, like I was in 08, because I don't see the game the same. Climb high and bring top players with you. You have a chance to establish yourself for the next 20 to 30 years based on what you do in the next 12 to 36 months. Period. This game will restructure itself. It will lock back down again, just like COVID disappeared and all the rioting politically and all the race riots disappeared. Everything has its seasons. It will come back together. The question is, will you be leading at the front of the pack when it does? Last word, profit. The result that we're looking for is profit. Some of you have a problem, and it's called money psychology. You legitimately have a problem with money. So we can't even get down here to radical amounts of profit because you flat out are uncomfortable with it. You're uncomfortable with getting paid. You're uncomfortable with making more money than your teams. So you give away too much money. You pay everyone too much. You waste your money on stupid investments that don't make any sense because you are uncomfortable with money. Here comes honest time. You ready? How many of you know this is you? Type in hell yes in the chat if this is you. Like there's just a piece where you're like, I'm a bit fucking uncomfortable with this. So it's not all of you, but all of you have had to go through the transition. It's like I was having a talk with a couple guys here last week. And we were discussing like windows of opportunity, like coach, like I'm already like creating like really big. I was like, I know you are. I was like, that's the blessing and the curse. The blessing and the curse is the fact that you're creating really big. But you're creating really big compared to who? Compared to who? Yourself? Compared to who? Your uncle? Like, you have an opportunity to create something this year that's not driven by what anyone else is doing. You have an opportunity to build something this year that's driven by one simple thing: unleashing the ultimate potential inside of yourself. I want you to write a number down. Wrap up for today. I want you to write down the number that you are anticipating you will end this year at take home. 2020, I realize you got taxed and some of you guys aren't going to file until October next year. I get it. But for now, just for now, do me a favor. Just write down a number. Don't type it in the chat. Just write down a number by you about what you anticipate your year-to-date take home. What do you think you're going to end? You got 6-7 weeks left in the year. Some of you got big pushes right now. We're going to make some big marketing moves for all of you that we're putting together. We're going to talk about next week. All of you are going to make a massive push here before the end of the year. I want you all to make no doubt. I would love all of you to get 100% ROI positive in the first like 2 months you were part of this experience with me. So you could just say, hey, I did A, B, and C, and fuck, dude, made all time my money back. That's great. We're building something here bigger than just you being part of, quote, a mastermind. There's a movement under this. Many of you are being called to take the message of Warrior to other places, to other nations and other languages, to other people in different ways, and you're called as a beacon that I'm not. I'm not that guy. You're that guy. But as we step back and we look at this entire experience here, write down the number for this year. What's the number that you anticipate this year will be your take home? Now I want you to write down another number. Write down a number that's 10 times bigger. This is not a new exercise. I'm not doing something fucking new with you. It's a Grant Cardone style. I get it. 2 numbers now. Current number and the 10x number. I want you to type both those numbers into the chat. The first number and the second number. Type them in the chat so everybody can see it. First number based on what you anticipate this year ending at, and the second one would be 10x that in 2023. 2 numbers, 2 numbers, 2 numbers. 200K, 2 million. 750K, 7.5 million. 1 million and 10 million. 130K and 1.3 million. 250K and 2.5 million. 180K and 1.8 million. 300K and 3 million. 750K and 7.5 million. 1 million and 10 million. 550K and 5.5 million, 360K and 3.6 million, 330K and 300K, 400K and 4 million, 150K and 1.5 million, 250K and 2.5 million, 2 million and 20 million, 3.5 million and 35 million, 120K and 1.2 million, 2.4 million and 24 million, 250K and 2.5 million, 325K and 3.25 million, 750K and 7.5 million, 350K and 3.5 million. I want you to look at these. Now, here's the piece I want you to look at with the second number. I want you to look at the second number and ask a simple question. Who do I have to become? You're going to get real bored of me this year. I'm not going to ask you a lot of new fucking questions that are going to make you all titillate and get a hard on. we're just gonna actually fucking win, which will make you very excited. Who do I have to become? Such that, fill in your number, is normal and natural. Mindset, skill sets, resource. This question drives everything for me. The minute I left Warrior Studios in Las Vegas, I was like, I want one of those. How do I get one of those? That was a $30 million studio. I was like, who do I have to become to have my own Warrior Studios by the end of 2023? I was like, would it have to be true? Where would we put it? Couldn't put it in Dana Point. There's no room. Where would I have it? Who would have to be true about this? I mean, how much tech would I have to have? How many people would I have to have on the team? My brain starts thinking through different numbers. It starts thinking through different situations. I start letting go of reality today, and I start pushing towards this place. Look at your second number. Look at it for real. Take the second number. I want you to write it down in front of you, like on paper. If you can't, then type it and put it really big in font, just sitting in front of you on your desktop, your laptop, your iPad, your cell phone. And then write the question right beside it. Who do I have to become such that that number is normal and natural? There's a reason why. And dude, spending as much time as I have with Grant Cardone in the past like 3-4 months, he's a fucking psychopath, dude. He's hilarious. He's far different than what the marketplace thinks of him. Very deeply spiritually connected man. Actually very impressed by him and his wife, Elena. Very, very, very powerful people. His business partner, Brandon Dawson, and his wife, Natalie Workman. Great people. A lot of people have opinions about him, but I've spent tons of time with him now in the past like 3-4 months. I can see it. I can feel it. Who do you have to become? And all of that who do you have to become is lined up with these 6 obstacles. We have an obstacle of perspective. We have an obstacle of your planning. We have an obstacle of your power, an obstacle of your production, an obstacle of the people. And ultimately, all of this leads to one big obstacle, which is the profit required to win. So we're going to go to one final share for tonight. I'm going to go 5 minutes. And I just want you to share, when you look at that second number, what is one thing you already know has to change about how you operate? Because I will tell you right now, a guy that takes home $250,000 and a guy that takes home $2.5 million, these men are not the same people. They're not the same people. A guy that takes home $2.5 million and a guy that takes home $12 million a year, these guys are not the same. Like fundamentally, they're not the same. The crazy part is the guy that takes home 12 hires the version of you that does 250. Isn't that wild to think? There's a version of you 10x from where you're at right now who would employ you to work for him. That includes me. There's a version of me that would look at me and buy my entire world and then close me into his operations and let me continue to run the show that I'm doing. I know because people came knocking to buy Warrior already and buy DKW from us. And we're like, no, but I appreciate it. And I started getting into the world of what that felt like to have individuals who sit in the billionaire world who look at me and look at what we're doing as a little small guy. One last share for today. I'm gonna give you one assignment. If you're clear about what we're gonna talk about here in this last share, type in clear so I know you're clear. Type it in the chat, type it in the chat. Give me clear in the chat, give me clear in the chat. One last share for tonight and we're wrapped up. Be with this, be with this. Okay, here we go. Rami, you know what we got 5 minutes on the clock, 5 minutes to wrap this up, and then we'll end one little prayer and we'll be done for tonight. 3, 2, 1, off we go. All right. Oh, Nick, you're still here, buddy. I thought you had to bounce, man. You good?
Yeah, schedule change.
All right, well, let's roll then.
All right, let's go. Joshua, what's one thing you know needs to be true to make that second number happen? Yes.
I'm Joshua, and that's Joshua. I see that we got two of us here, but the one thing is that I have to be a fucking marketer. I am a marketer. That has to be true. Every single day I create leads.
What does that look like?
What that looks like is going live on Facebook, being ruthlessly committed to creating content, and being ruthlessly committed to making offers to people every single day.
Joshua, what about yourself?
I see myself being very clear on my offer, exactly knowing exactly how much is it, and pitching it all the time, qualifying, disqualifying. That's really what it's going to come down to. Being really clear with the value that I'm bringing to the table, and being able to present that offer and getting yeses or nos.
Jared.
I'm still running my business like a small business, so I've got to invest in some of the right people and the right teams to help support me doing what I'm doing.
Raj.
Yeah, it's definitely a money psychological thing that Garrett was talking about. I'm fucked with that because we got to the point where we're making the money now. Things are rolling, it's coming in, and I've kind of just been kind of lazy with stuff now. And we know it's sitting there. My only thing is now is what do we do with this? Where do I go with it? You know, do I save it? Where does it go next? Where are the big investments at? And that's where I'm getting mind fucked.
So I want all of you to take a second, because all four of you are in the same place. You have an idea of the mindset that you have today can get me to where I need to be in 2023, but what none of you have mentioned, what is the skill set you need to acquire in the next 12 months? What is the actual skill, the ability, the capacity, the capability that you need to build? If we only sit in mindset for the next 12 months, nothing will fucking happen. So what is the skill set? I'm going to go back to each of you right now. What is the skill set you must acquire to make it true? Joshua.
You know, the problem is that I already have the skill set. I just needed the mindset. I've been a marketer for 7 years. I just haven't been willing to do it for myself because I haven't been willing to expose myself. I haven't been willing to put myself out there. So it's time for I guess the skill set would be alliteration, would be training, would be kind of reaching a much larger group than working one-to-one with people. So speaking, training, running events is kind of a big piece of my 2023 vision.
So your skill set is you need to actually become a trainer.
Correct.
Okay. Joshua.
I need to irritate the fuck out of the market and have my voice and start just irritating, creating little irritations to get reactions and then present my offer.
Again, an idea. What's the skill you need to master to do that?
I would say skill set. I would say communication. Just constant like presentation, communication. Get better at that. Get in front of the camera. Feel comfortable in front of the camera. Those kinds of things.
Be willing to speak.
Yes.
Jared.
Mine is delegation with high levels of accountability with that. So
you need to become an actual leader.
Yeah.
And Raj, wrap us up. What's the skill set you need?
Financial skill set. Being able to understand numbers, what is the bigger picture of the business? What is it generating? Looking at the profits versus the ROI. So, you know, recalculating the numbers and running back through, understanding where we need to be and putting the money where it needs to be and, you know, and generating that output from it.
So the piece I want you guys to now take from all that, you've all identified a skill set you need to be better at. Tie a commitment to it, and then you will be able to understand what steps you need to take in the next 12 months, or if there's someone you need to bring in to take care of it for you. Raj, you may not need to be the financial guy. You just may need to put someone in place to do it. So take that, take your intent, your desire, and actually marry it to what you guys will do in the next 12 months. Clear?
Got it.
Kevin, I'm calling you in like 3 minutes.
Me?
No, Kevin Ward.
Kevin Ward, okay, I've got a hard stop because I've got an appointment at 5 o'clock.
All right, will you text me when you're done?
I'll text you when I'm done.
All right, buddy. Okay. So I really want this to be like an amazing year for you. Like in a deep way. Like I can't force this game to happen for you. We're going to create a container here that will give you an opportunity to win. But in the end, you're going to have to choose to win no matter what. For the investment that you made to be here, and for what we're going to deliver, and for the amount of time, energy, and attention you're going to get around this game, it's silly. How many of you know it's silly? Type in silly in the chat. You know. $37,500 to be part of this group is silly. Legitimately. And I'm doing it on purpose because I want you guys to be able to have no excuses here. That couldn't be the barrier. I'd rather see you put the money into your ads, put that money into hiring people, move in different directions. To win here is going to come down to you. We're going to be dividing the groups up based upon income. All of that's happening here in the next week. This call will always be unified with us, but there'll be a way we're going to segment it differently based upon what unit you're part of so that everybody's solving the right problems together in the right areas. There's just certain problems that we're trying to solve when we're under $500,000 a year in take home that we're not trying to solve. There are different problems we're trying to solve at $500K or more. I make $1 million or more and take home, I'm solving different problems than what I am when I'm less than 500,000. How many of you can see this clearly? Type in clear in the chat if you get what I'm talking about with this. So it's not about me trying to be a dick or trying to alienate people or put people in situations like you're better or you're worse. None of that. It's not. It's just so that we can address problems at the level where the problems are at and get you to the next place. So make no qualms about it. This group is about making money. It's about you getting paid. On top of that, this group is also about living the Warriors way. So it's about having it all. It's about all of it together. It's not just getting paid, it's having it all. It's one thing to make a bunch of money. It's one thing to increase by 100% or 50% or 25% in take-home profits in a year. It's another thing to do it while simultaneously elevating your body, simultaneously elevating your relationship with God, simultaneously elevating your sex, intimacy, and communication with your spouse, and simultaneously leveling up your deep communion, love, and connection with your children. So we will not tolerate one-dimensional wins around here, which means your foundational fact maps, your freedom fact maps, all of these targets coalescing, coming together. There's a detailed plan coming out this week for you. It's going to show you where you get to play, how to pick your path in it, how to choose it, how to win, how launch integrates. For now, just know you must come with the fire to win. If you don't come with the fire to win, then we got nothing to spark. If you get this, type in I get it in the chat. Type in I get it in the chat if you get this. We're going to wrap up for tonight. Beautiful. All right. Go and close your eyes. Close your eyes. Let's bring this thing to a close. And we're going to take 5 deep breaths in. We're going to do our first one. Deep breath in number 1. And release. And 2. And release. 3. Release. 4. Release. 5. Hold. 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 And release. Eyes closed, eyes closed. Dear God, as we come to a close here in this experience for today, we've got 60 plus men who are live here with us, a total of just under 100 men that are part of this group. Father, we ask that this week and that today, as these men leave this conversation, that they leave with some simplicity. That the ideas that have come to them, that these would become crystallized tonight as they go to sleep. That as they dream and as they vision quest with you, that in that place that there would be some clarity and even more simplicity would come to these ideas today and to tomorrow. That tonight as they speak about these things with their spouse or with their children or even just sitting and contemplating with themselves, that as they do this, that there would be some calm energy that would surround this simplicity for them. That right now, even in this moment, Lord, we ask that you start pushing away doubts and fears and the idea of what to do 3, 4, 5, 6 months from now, but it would be brought down to just the simplicity of now. That as they wake up tomorrow, that there would be an increase in courage, that there would be an increase in certainty that is driven and directly correlated to doing work with you tomorrow morning. That, Father, they would start to find and feel a deep oneness with you in the mornings that they're not currently finding. That this oneness would lead them to see with specificity tomorrow. That it would lead them to see with simplicity tomorrow. That the moves they make with their teams and with their business and with their clients, that these moves, they would actually move in an accelerated way, in ways that even have their teams sit back in response and watching and witnessing, that would have them even wonder that what is this thing that they're feeling? Why are they seeing this from you? And that in that place that these men would have an opportunity to witness the power of God in their lives. That here, Father, as a group of men, that we would find the humility in ourselves, not in a weak way, but as kings to take a knee. That this week we would take a knee to the truth in our stacks. That we would take a knee to what we truly want. That we would take a knee to your revelation. That we would take a knee to the power of the atonement in our lives. That we would find forgiveness in our own creation inside of us. That inside of that forgiveness, the work that has been done before we got here, the work that was done that we could not earn, that we would be able to bathe ourselves in that blood and in that power this week. That it would give us courage to war in the areas where we need to war, that we can sit quiet in the areas where we must be quiet. And that ultimately we will take one more step forward this week in our relationship with you, and in that allowing it to translate into our relationship with our wife and with our children and with our teams. Father, we thank you for creating this group. We thank you for the men that are here, the men that will be coming. We thank you for the opportunity that we have all to contribute and to extract, to all teach and at the same time to learn, to all lead and at the same time to follow, in ultimately our pursuits of being free. This is our prayer as we wrap today, and we ask a protection to be around each of these men tonight, that they would continue forward in this energy tonight, and that no matter the chaos or the stress that may come at them from family members or business or teams or text message that may come, that they would still hold this peace. And that as they lie down tonight, Father, as they lie their heads down on their pillows tonight, that there would be a moment of peace, that you would speak to them in that peace, that they would hear it through feelings and through words, and that in that hearing and in that peace that they feel, that it would give them a conviction that as they go to sleep not as simply men, but they go to sleep as kings called by you, prophets and teachers called by you in this day to lead and to guide your people, to speak truth into the darkness, to give us courage, Father, to do those things is our request at this time as we seal this experience and tonight's call. In Jesus' name, amen. Brothers, good night. I love you deeply and excited to be part of this journey with you. We got a good 14 months ahead of us. Have a wonderful night. I was like getting a little emotional with you. It's fun. God's great, and you are too. He's called you, and I'm just excited as hell to be here with you to help weaponize you to get the things you've been called to get. Have a great night, gentlemen. We'll talk to you guys next week.